Welcome. Cowboy fans, Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G. I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Janie, Jared, what's going on? Nisi, Freddie, how's everybody doing? As everybody continues to come in. Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Let's talk facts. Some people are saying things like the Cowboys are cursed. I don't believe the Cowboys are cursed. I'm not a very superstitious, of course, I'm not a superstitious person. What's going on, Reggie? There's just something not right about this team. These injuries, y'all might not realize, but these injuries are not just from this season. Cowboys have been having injuries even last year. And I'm questioning the Trevon Diggs thing for a reason. I want to begin with the Trevon Diggs thing, and then I'll move. I'll just talk about a couple other things. But the Trevon Diggs thing, it reminds me now of the Dak Prescott thing, the Zach Martin thing. Those three especially in particular. Because I'm starting to wonder if these guys were right all along. I'm really starting to wonder. I don't think Trevon Diggs was right all along. I think Trevon Diggs came back too fast from his injury. I really think Trevon Diggs came back too fast from the injury. I do. And I believe he was, and I don't want to say he was made to do it, but there seems to be something on this team where players, short of a better term, it's like they're being coerced into coming back early, coerced into coming back too fast. I even think about Dak Prescott in 2022. I think Dak Prescott came back a little too fast from the thumb injury. I think Michael Gallup was coerced into coming back a little too fast with his knee injury. And Michael Gallup was never the same. This is why Michael Gallup has retired now. I think Trevon Diggs came back too fast from that injury. And it makes me wonder, what is influencing these guys to do this? And I really want to have this Trevon Diggs discussion, because I want y'all to think about this. We were already hearing about Trevon Diggs with a calf and a groin injury. And I said, even when they were talking about the calf and the groin injury, the thing that came to my mind was, is this a result of overcompensation from the knee injury? Is this a result of coming back too quick from the knee injury? And I want y'all to really let this sink in. Do we realize Trevon Diggs sat out the game before the Panthers game? And I said this before they played the Panthers. If anybody remembers, I said straight up, if I'm Trevon Diggs, there's no way I'm coming back to play against Jamar Chase. There's no way. Jamar Chase was way too much. Way too much. Y'all might not feel what I'm saying, but I'm telling y'all, Jamar Chase was way too much for Trevon Diggs. It was obvious, the things they were saying about Trevon Diggs. Something wasn't right. And I'm telling y'all, Jamar Chase was way too much. He was. Do we not realize what the pressure that a receiver like Jamar Chase puts on a cornerback? I'm talking a healthy cornerback. I'm talking a top 5 cornerback. Jamar Chase going to put pressure on y'all. Man, I don't know if y'all realize it right now, but Jamar Chase is in his bag. Jamar Chase right now is in his bag, y'all. And I am blown away, but nowhere near surprised. He's about to have knee surgery the week after playing Jamar Chase? Who's surprised? Who's surprised? We knew there was something not right with this man's leg. We knew. If anybody has been here, they knew something was not right with this man's leg. And the fact that he played last week, I don't know if we're understanding what I'm saying. This is literal insanity. Who asked him to play? Who made him play? Something's going on with this team, and it's deeper than just cursed. No, Trevon Diggs wasn't ready, y'all. Trevon Diggs wasn't ready. He wasn't. He wasn't ready. Trevon Diggs actually should have sat out a little bit longer. Trevon Diggs should have sat out a little bit longer. And he set this goal, or I don't know, someone set this goal for him, that he was going to be back by week 1. Trevon Diggs shouldn't have came back week 1. And it has me questioning even who releases these people, who releases these players, who does it? Because at the end of the day, I think D-Law is telling us something, y'all. I think DeMarcus Lawrence, this is the X factor for me. I think DeMarcus Lawrence is telling us something. What's going on, Daniel? Walter, how y'all doing? Revelation, what's going on? Troy, what's going on? Matthew Curtis, what's going on? There is something a little bit more, and I don't want to call it nefarious, but there's something going on with this team, as in it's like they'll get injuries and they come back on the field way too soon. And that's why I'm telling y'all, DeMarcus Lawrence to me is the key to all of this. Has anybody noticed what DeMarcus Lawrence is doing? Anybody noticed? They keep talking about DeMarcus Lawrence is playing this week and the next week and the next week and the next week. And DeMarcus Lawrence doesn't show up. And DeMarcus Lawrence said he's not going out like that. What the world does that mean? When DeMarcus Lawrence first said that, I thought to myself, what in the world does it mean for DeMarcus Lawrence to be saying, I'm not going out like that? And I told y'all what it meant. And I'm telling y'all, I think Zach Martin followed suit. DeMarcus Lawrence said, I plan on playing next year. I'm not playing with injury. And read between the lines. DeMarcus Lawrence is saying they're not going to re-sign me. And I know it. So why am I going to play with an injury for this team? Only for them not to re-sign me. Zach Martin said something in his press conference. Zach Martin said, I've been dealing with this ankle injury since training camp. What? What do you mean, Zach Martin? You've been dealing with an ankle injury since training camp? And you played? And we were wondering Why were you getting your butt whooped all over the field, Zach Martin? Why were you getting your butt kicked all over the field and everyone's saying you've lost a step? Because he was playing injured. And he shouldn't have been playing injured. But when your team is top heavy, you put a lot of pressure on your starters because all of a sudden your starters can't miss. Your starters can't sit out when you're top heavy. You can't. You can't sit out. Revelation says corporate team doctors are rushing the players back too soon by the owners. I would get my own doctors. What's going on, P-Funk? I love watching your show. I appreciate you. These players need to start thinking about their own health because I'm telling y'all, D-Law is telling y'all something about this team. I know no one is talking about it, but D-Law is telling us something about this team, y'all. He says he's not coming back until he's 100%. Watch this. I noticed something. So Jerry Jones, every week on 105.3 The Fan, game recognized game. I'm about to put y'all up on game. This team is beaten up, bruised, and we're down over playing so many big games, regular season and playoffs over the last 3+ seasons. Oh, Jerry, watch this. I've said this before, though. You know what's wrong with this team? Every game is a playoff game for them. The Dallas Cowboys is the only team like this. Every single doggone game is a playoff game for the Dallas Cowboys. There's a reason why when they get to the playoffs, they're so worn out. Because we can't say they're worn out, Jared, because of the wins and the playoffs, because we see other teams do it. But the difference between us and those teams is they keep veteran players around so they can endure some of those injuries. They can absorb some of those injuries. We can't absorb any. So what we do is we wind up forcing our players to play early or play injured. I just think it's one of the worst things a player can do. I'm not saying you can't play sore, but to play injured is crazy. No one's 100%, or most people are not 100% by this time in the season. But to play injured, and this league actually promotes that a lot, playing injured. But it seems like this team in particular does a whole lot of that playing injured mess. Michael Gallup's career is over now because of it. It is. Cowboys are going to go 6-12 this season. I think it's actually 5-12. I know what you mean, though, Daniel M. I said it before. I said it before the injury with Trevon Diggs, though. I didn't think they were going to win another game. Some think they're going to win the Carolina game and the Washington Commanders game. I got a strange feeling they're not going to win the Washington Commanders game because the Rams are putting the Commanders in a situation now. The Rams have the Commanders in a predicament. For the Commanders, at first, it was seeming like it was going to be 10 wins they're in. The Rams has something to say about that. Now it's going to be between who gets the best record between the Rams and the Commanders. And so the Cowboys, tomorrow is their last chance to win for the season. And Carolina's about to give the Cowboys all they can handle, unless Mike McCarthy runs the ball 35 times. Rico Dowdle is 269 yards away from 1,000 yards. Rico Dowdle actually could have ran for 200 yards last week. And I want y'all to understand, and everyone knows who's been here, I've been screaming from the rooftops about Rico Dowdle being the starting running back for this team ever since the Pittsburgh game. And do we realize, I don't know if there's been a game that he's gotten maximum carries for him this season. I don't even think he's eclipsed the 25 carry mark. Imagine if Rico Dowdle was running 25 carries a game. He was 18 for 131 last week. What if he got 25? I'm telling you, the game is different. The game is different last week. Jerry Jones needs to be drug tested. People are saying there's something going on with Jerry. Wicked, what's going on? Yes, hit that like button, y'all. I'm telling you, man, something is going on with this Cowboys team. And it seems to me they coerce players, or there's something they're doing to where they are asking players to, I don't know what they're doing, if they're coercing them or what, but these players, when the Cowboys sign them, it's like they almost pressure them into playing hurt. Trevon Diggs been playing hurt all season. He has. And we all have noticed it. We all have noticed it, that Trevon Diggs has not been looking right. We've all noticed it. We've all noticed it. Let me see what Troy says. Maybe college kids have it right. Look what all the players at Marshall just did. You only have health once. That's it. And I'm sorry, if you're a professional football player, you should not be playing injured. You shorten your own career when you play injured. Y'all better get ready. We better get ready for Trevon Diggs. Trevon Diggs may never be the same again. Trevon Diggs may never be the same again, y'all. We better get ready. Second surgery. And who knows if it's cleanup. We don't know the details of all of it yet. We don't know all the details. But I'm telling you, when you're a running back, when you're a wide receiver, this is why CeeDee Lamb didn't hit that field, and I didn't blame him. They should have got the contract done earlier. But I know why CeeDee Lamb didn't hit that field, and I was afraid for Dak Prescott to hit that field because CeeDee Lamb, cornerbacks, wide receivers, running backs, those three positions in particular, you don't want to be dealing with knee injuries. You're never the same. You're never the same after knee injuries. It's like this kid from Detroit. He's been hitting all these receivers and tight ends low, and he's been shattering their knees. It's insane, man. They've been showing the highlights on this dude, and it's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy what they've been showing. And a lot of these players, they're doing it to protect their head, but a lot of these players will tell you they would actually rather be hit in the head than hit in the knees. Football's a brutal sport. It is. But sometimes these guys go a little too low. And all of that to the side, I digress. Knee injuries for cornerbacks, wide receivers, and running backs are detrimental. It hurts all the players, but it's detrimental to those three positions because they do a lot of cutting. A lot of cutting. Quickness is important for them. It's not just vertical speed. It's twitch. It's their twitch. It's their side to side. It's their jitter, whatever they do. And these knee injuries affect that. Daniel says, you think they're going 6-11? Man, I don't think they're going 6-11. I'll be shocked if they win another game. But the only one I think they have a chance of winning is the Carolina game. So I won't be shocked at that one. So I'm not going to be surprised if they go 6-11. But I'm not going to be shocked if they don't win another game because I think the Carolina Panthers are about to give them everything they can handle. Matthew Curtis says 5-12. Matthew, I'm with you. What's going on, my brother? I don't think they win another game. I don't think they win another game. Suge McKnight. You think they're going to keep Rico under 1,000 so he can't bring that negotiation table? Boy, let me tell you something. At the rate Rico Dowdle is running, only way they can keep him from 1,000 is keep him out of the game at this point because they have 4 games left. He's the best part of their offense. He's the best part of their offense because Cooper Rush can't throw past 10 yards. Rico is literally the best part of the offense. So they're not going to stop him from getting to 1,000. And the funny thing is, y'all, you know, people have been talking about is the Cowboys going to re-sign Rico. You better ask the question whether Rico going to re-sign with the Cowboys. There's probably some teams out there right now going, Rico Dowdle is really good. I was showing this all midseason. If you look at his yards per his yards per carry average, if you look at his success rates, if you look at his yards after first contact, I mean, if you look at Rico Dowdle he's not a mid-tier back. Rico's not elite. He's not, I don't get Ashton Genty elite. He's not that running back. But I'll tell you this, he is, you know what? I could move back in the draft and let somebody get Genty, and I can get the guy from Carolina, or I could get one of those guys from Ohio State, or I could get you fill in the blank with any one of those top 10 running backs, and Rico Dowdle and them become a 1-2 punch. If I'm the Cowboys, I got to bring back Rico Dowdle. I have to bring back Rico Dowdle. I have to bring him back. Rico, y'all, is on the verge of breaking out. P Funk says the owner do not care about the player's health. I'm about to show y'all something. It's mind-blowing. Tony Simmons, what's going on? Tony Simmons, Rush, I don't trust. Yes, sir. I want everybody to change their mind on the Rush we trust. Gee, I really feel like the Jones boys aren't going to do anything next season because they're literally not going to help this roster, and they're going to tell Dak to cook again, and you saw what happened. Well, they were already saying stupid stuff like expect more of the same next season as it applies to the cap. So I'll get to the cap in a moment. Because I'll tell you what I think what they're talking about. Jerry said, I talked to a Cowboys fan yesterday that said that Cooper Rush can possibly pass for close to 500 yards. What? Jared, please tell me you broke out the drug testing kit on this. What? Y'all watch what I tell y'all. I told you the same thing against Cincinnati. Y'all watch what I tell y'all. The Carolina Panthers, their defense going to be all on Cooper Rush. You watch what I tell you. Their defense going to be all on Cooper Rush. What's going on, Robert Hill? I'm telling you, man, this is crazy. Rico might sign with Philly. Hey, Tony, he going to have options. He's going to have options. And when you think about this injury thing with the Cowboys, I want to show you something. Anybody remember this picture? Jay Recruiter is not here yet. I hope he comes in. Y'all remember this picture right here? And I think it was Jay Recruiter who was talking about this, and I didn't want to accept it. But look at this. Anybody remember this picture? Just look at that picture. Anybody remember that? This is Dak Prescott going on a boat in a boot. And I said, there he is. What's going on, Jay Recruiter? I think you were talking about this. Were you the one talking about Dak in the boot? I said, as a person who's had a broken bone, I remember when I had broken my collarbone and how the rain and the moisture used to affect my shoulder. It used to hurt whenever it wouldn't even rain. I could tell when it was going to rain, and my shoulder would hurt. And I remember people used to say stuff like whenever you break something, you get on a boat or something like that, or there's moisture in the air. There's something about the fact that you can feel it in those broken bones. And Dak said the last time he got on a boat, he said his leg swole. Y'all remember this? Okay, Victor, you said, I told you Dak was injured preseason. Yep, I remember y'all saying it. There was people saying it. Victor was one of the people that was saying it. And I'm telling y'all, I remember when y'all said it, I said, you know what? I don't want to go there. But the more you think about, I remember what I said before the Falcon game. And everyone was telling Dak Prescott that even Joe Flacco had more rushing yards than you. I think Dak was not running by design. I could be wrong. Victor could be wrong. But I think Dak was not running by design. And I noticed something else in some of the games. I noticed the push off by Dak. I noticed even in some of his throws, I was kind of like, it don't seem like Dak is throwing the same. It's like he's not throwing the same. And so when I start hearing all that stuff, I'm kind of like, okay, well, Dak said it's nothing, so it's nothing. But we know something about Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is one of those players that will play hurt. Dak is just old school. He will play hurt. It just makes me wonder about Dak Prescott if he was actually hurt. But he was, of course, they're not going to tell you they're hurt. But then, watch this. That's the leg. And if I'm not mistaken, if I remember the leg that Dak was holding with the torn hamstring off the bone, I think it was the same leg. And this is why right now, Mike McCarthy was saying, see, Dak Prescott is trying to get off those crutches early. And Mike McCarthy was saying, no, Dak, don't get off the crutches early. Mike McCarthy was saying that. And so it is important for Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott has got to be smart and sit his butt down somewhere. Because this team, to me, for whatever reason, they seem to bring players back early, or something encourages these players to come back early. Whether the doctors release them, whatever the case may be. And they come back, and all of a sudden, they have an injury that sets them back even further. Michael Gallup. Now we got Trevon Diggs, both of them knee injuries. Dak Prescott, that right leg. And see, this is one of those issues. I don't call this, injury prone or soft tissue injuries. But Dak had a cataclysmic injury. And so what Dak and this team is going to have to do going forward is this team is going to have to understand what Dak Prescott is going forward. I think Dak Prescott's rehab needs to be ferocious. I think it needs to be ferocious. Of course, monitored, but ferocious. His diet, I think they need to do everything they can do to make sure that everything is right with Dak Prescott before he hits the field again. They have to. They have to make sure everything is right with him. Because everything that we're seeing, some of these things we saying down here in the chat, Cooper Rush let me down. Kevin, how Cooper Rush let you down, man? I kept telling folk what he was. I mean, if you look at his stats, he's exactly what he was all those games. He's exactly what he was all those games. The issue is people were not giving the defense and the special teams enough credit. Cooper Rush, man, I'm telling you, Cooper Rush never was what anybody thought. I mean, I never thought he was anything but a backup quarterback. But I'm telling y'all, man, yeah, wicked Dak living his best life on a boat with 2 toys. Yeah, he doing his thing, man. Dak is building that family. Life after football. Yeah, Suge Midnight. Injuries are the best weather detector because that's what used to happen to me. So this is kind of what I wrote that off as. But now it makes me wonder. Now it makes me wonder because I was very concerned and I said it. If Dak come out there against the Falcons and he start trying to run, I hope there's no injury. And boom, lo and behold, hamstring tore off the bone. This team has been ravaged by injuries. In my opinion, I'm not going out and signing big name money. Free agents Jerry and Steven are telling McCarthy and the rest of the coaching staff, do your job and coach and develop players we have in the draft. That's it, Freddie. That's really what they're saying. Victor Maldonado, I'm with you. Seemed like he ran weird, didn't he? Yep. It seemed like to me Dak kind of knew something maybe. Maybe he was trying to make it through the season, which he probably, I believe Dak could have quietly made it through the season. Dak has actually been injured a couple of times, and I think he didn't tell anybody. He'll play through injury. He'll play through pain. He thought he was going to play through this, but he wasn't able to do it. And so it makes me wonder if something is going on with this team where they bring these guys back too quick. And I think Trevon Diggs, point blank, I think they bought Trevon Diggs back too quick. I think they bought him back too quick, and now he's going to have to suffer for it. And these guys have to understand something. Man, DeMarcus Lawrence is telling us something about this team. DeMarcus Lawrence is saying, I'm not doing what the rest of these guys are doing. That's what DeMarcus Lawrence basically told us. I'm not doing what these guys are doing. I'm not going to play injured for this team. I'm not going to do it. And I don't blame him. I wouldn't play injured either. It shortens your career. Yeah, Jared, I'm telling you, right. You hit the hit on the head, and that's what I'm telling folk too. You better stop looking at the Panthers like they're the season Panthers. They're good. They're taking good teams down to the wire. Good teams down to the wire. And we better be careful because I think the Panthers at this moment may be better than us. And I think where they may be better than us is not just better, but they may be better mentally than us. See, we got a lot of things that are happening to us to where our mentality is very shaky. It's on the decline. Because this team is wondering, like, what's going on with us? What's going on? I mean, what's up with all the injuries? What's going on with us? Carolina Panthers are thinking more like, nah, man, we're about to make a difference in this league next year. We're going to do something in free agency. We're going to do something in the draft. Carolina Panthers are going to be good next year. Nisi said, this is so sad the way the FO treats their star players. Yeah, front office treats their star players, but want everyone to do more with less. See, this is another reason, Nisi, we may be stuck with Mike McCarthy. Ben Johnson ain't putting up with this mess. Ben Johnson not putting up with this mess. Bill Belichick not putting up with this mess. Deion Sanders ain't no way he was putting up with this mess. Mike Vrabel, he's not putting up with this mess. And the only people who will put up with this mess, it'll be Mike McCarthy because he's putting up with this mess. It'll be the Jason Wittens who want a coaching job bad. He'll put up with this mess. This is why I don't want Jason Witten here. Kellen Moore. He wants a job. He wants a head coaching job. He'll put up with this mess. This team is in a place, man, that if they don't do something, it's going to be this team is on the verge of a total collapse if they don't change something. And this is why, while I will not write off the fact that Mike McCarthy is the coach, but I also won't write off the fact that I think Jerry realizes that Mike might not be the guy for this. Yeah, are y'all saying the Panthers want to win badly? Because I think they do. Jameson, what's going on? I think the Panthers want to win bad. And I want y'all to think about this. Yeah, you know what, Victor? And that's what got Dak hurt. Because I remember the game before the New York Giants. I remember how people were talking about that Dak is much bigger than he appears on TV. A lot of the linebackers and cornerbacks were saying stuff like that, like Dak, man, this dude is like way bigger when you see him in person, and he's hard to bring down. And that drop hip tackle that's why he brought him down like that, because there was no other way he could bring him down. But see, I'm going to tell y'all something about the Carolina Panthers and why I think they're going to be very hungry to beat the Cowboys. You know why they're going to be hungry to beat the Cowboys? Because if you look at them on Tankatron, the Carolina Panthers will still be in the top 10 if they beat the Cowboys. They already have a quarterback. What are they going after? See, some of these teams, they don't need quarterbacks. And when you don't need a quarterback, and it's not even a quarterback draft, well, when you don't need quarterbacks, you're not really concerned about being in the top 3. The Las Vegas Raiders and the Giants, they need a quarterback. The Patriots don't even need a quarterback. Jacksonville don't need a quarterback. Tennessee could, but they already have a quarterback. The Jets, they need a successor. They need a quarterback. Cleveland, they need to start looking at a quarterback. I'm not sure they're going to be looking just yet. They may re-sign Jameis Winston. Chicago don't need a quarterback. Cincinnati don't need a quarterback. New Orleans probably should be looking at a quarterback. So when you think about it, see the Panthers, how does it hurt them to beat the Cowboys? How does it hurt the Panthers to even win out? It doesn't hurt them. It doesn't hurt the Panthers to win out. And the Panthers are not going to win out, but what do the Panthers have? The Panthers may have what? 2 more games left? They probably got 2 more games left because of the way the NFL did these schedules. Let's see, their remaining schedule. So they have the Cowboys. So you think about their remaining schedule right here. So they have the Cowboys. So then they got another divisional game. The Cardinals coming to Carolina. It's going to be a hard-fought game. Carolina could pull it off. They're getting beat by the Buccaneers, I believe, in Tampa Bay. And they might be able to sneak up on the Panthers. So they have a total of 3 games they could possibly win, which I believe realistically they only win 1 or 2 of those, even though all 4 of them will be highly contested games. So at the end of the day, for the Panthers, they don't really have a lot to lose if they win. They're not winning out. So they could only win 2 more games. And so I believe short of maybe Carolina, I think these other teams may win some games, and they still may wind up in the top 7. So for Carolina to be in the top 10, it don't matter to them. They already have their quarterback. They're not going away from Bryce Young just yet. I think they're going to give Bryce Young a little bit more rope. Suge Midnight says at this point, any theory about this organization is probably right. I mean, it's crazy. Panthers always have their quarterback. They want to win games. Yes, exactly, Jay Recruiter. They're playing to win. The Cowboys are like a heavyweight fighter in a boxing match right now. The Cowboys are reeling. The Cowboys, y'all think about it. They lost a game in a horrific way to the Cincinnati Bengals. They lost to Marion Overshown in that game. Now they get the news of Trevon Diggs. And then with Micah Parsons and all his drama, crying, walking off the field early, carrying on like he did on the sideline. This team right now is reeling like a heavyweight boxer in a title match to where he's getting punched in the face over and over and over, and he won uppercut from going down. Well, my son, P-Funk, my son calls it the WWE. That's what my son calls it. Dak couldn't play it like he normally does. Yep. I thought something was off about Dak. And I didn't want to believe there's something wrong with the leg because he didn't say it. But I was noticing, man, on some of those down the field throws, I was like, Dak don't seem to be. But in the Falcons game, I noticed that Dak brought out the full repertoire. The push off, the runs, and it wasn't a run. It was a throw. But I think it was a culmination of how Dak played that game. Yeah, Dak is busy building his life after football, Jay. That's what he's doing. Now he ain't trying. Hey, Victor, hey, no nastiness, but he ain't trying to pull out. Dak done found the one, man. Dak in his eyes done found the one. Gee, we picked the wrong wide receiver to get from the Panthers, and now Mingo thinks he's going to cook his former team. Who does Mingo think he is, OBJ? Well, you know what? I don't even think it's even Jonathan Mingo. What quarterback do we have that's going to throw it to him? Jonathan Mingo does not fit a West Coast offense. He doesn't fit a West Coast offense. Jonathan Mingo, even if you look at him, Ole Miss, he's a down-the-field receiver. Jonathan Mingo is a down-the-field receiver. If you're a down-the-field receiver, you're going to hate Cooper Rush. You're going to hate Cooper Rush if you are a down-the-field receiver because he's not going down the field. Even if you get one-on-one coverage with Cooper Rush, you can forget about it. We're not going to know what Jonathan Mingo is until next season. And I hope Jonathan Mingo doesn't stop the Cowboys from going and get a wide receiver in the first round. I just seriously think they need a wide receiver in the first round. First round wide receiver, no later than the second, no later than the third on a running back. I mean, if you can get Abdul Carter or, there's some guy that's just that talented out there, I'm not going to be mad if you get that guy in the first round. But you got to get a wide receiver in the second and a running back in the third. But if it's me, I'm sorry. I'm getting the best wide receiver on the board. Timmy, what's going on? This team done. Need new players. Diggs, Dak, Overshown, injuries destroyed them. Now, I think that Dak and Overshown are not done. Simply because as a quarterback, Tom Brady did it for years. Peyton Manning did it for years. You can compensate for a quarterback that don't run. It's easy to compensate for a quarterback that don't run. Dak hasn't had the coup de grace injury like Tony Romo had. People don't understand. Tony Romo had the coup de grace injury. Tony Romo could have came back. Tony Romo was kind of, his body was breaking down, but he was still, because quarterbacks can still play. But what happened to Tony Romo was, man, you don't break a tailbone, man. You don't break a tailbone. That's not an injury-prone injury. I mean, Tony suffered a tailbone injury. So it was already, that right there was just really no coming back from that season. I think that Tony would have had a hard time. He said he was ready to play. I think Tony would have had a hard time coming back that season. Not to say he couldn't have came back the next season. But the kind of quarterback Tony was, I think it would have been hard for him to come back. Dak doesn't have the coup de grace injury. I mean, you can compensate for a quarterback that don't run. I actually think that Dak Prescott needs to get to the point of where where Peyton Manning, if you'll notice what Peyton Manning started doing the last few years of his career, once he came back from the neck injury, you could breathe on Peyton Manning and he would just fall down. He would just fall down. He wasn't taking no more hits. So you can compensate for a quarterback that don't run. You just get him a running game. We already got Rico Dowdle. Just go get another running back like the Detroit Lions did. Jared Goff's not a running quarterback by far. He's not even close to a running quarterback. I wouldn't even classify Jared Goff as a mobile quarterback. Get him a running game. That's how you compensate. So Dak, as long as he can get that leg right to where he can push off of it, to where he can throw, Dak will be fine. Overshown, I think he'll be fine. They said it was no nerve injury, no meniscus injury. No meniscus damage. It was a freak accident. I think Overshown will be back. I do hope they consider maybe moving Overshown further back from the line. I think he could be the new Darren Woodson. He's got that kind of speed. I would like to see him move back there. But I'm not going to give up on Overshown. And I hope Overshown does not try to come back in 2025. I hope Overshown don't come back to 2026. I think he'll be ready. Suge Midnight says, I think we need to start questioning the strength and conditioning coach. You know what's so crazy? The crazy part is Troy Aikman vouched for this guy. Troy Aikman vouched for this guy. He was talking about how good he was. And some of their injuries are not soft tissue, but some of them are. Some of them are. But Suge, I'm with you, though, in this instance. I think they not only need to be questioning the strength and conditioning coaches, I think they might ought to be questioning their doctors, their medical staff. I mean, because this Trevon Diggs thing is not something that I take lightly. Just like I didn't take the Michael Gallup thing lightly. Michael Gallup came back too quick, and everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. Everybody needs to understand something. They're not Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson is a freak of nature. Don't ever compare your comeback to another man's comeback. Adrian Peterson is a freak of nature. I think he tore his knee, came back, 6 months later? Ran for 2,000 yards? Everybody can't do that. Jay Recruiter. Panthers are playing good. I'm with you. And I'm telling you, every team gets up to play the Cowboys. Every team. Y'all might not realize something, but Nick Bosa said this. Nick Bosa said the Cowboys are a get-right team. You play them to get back right. But he's saying something so deep, he doesn't even understand it. A lot of teams look at the Cowboys like that. They look at the Cowboys on those big stages as ways of, okay, guys, we're gonna really get our team back together on this game. This is gonna be our come-up game. All eyes are on us. This is our opportunity to show the world what we're made of. And so they're going to do that against Cowboys every single time. Dak don't care. He got his bag now making babies on that bed. You know what, though, Timmy, I do think he still want that. I think he still want that chip. Because I tell you this, I would not want to be the highest paid quarterback without a Super Bowl. I got to get me a Super Bowl, man. That to me, maybe I just think different. But for me, it's the only thing that can make it worth it. I got to get it back. Dak has never looked loose as a body type. He always seemed like he's wound too tight. Watch how he runs. Doesn't look fluid. You know what? I won't disagree with you on that. I think he was a lot more fluid in college. I think in the pros it was a little bit different. I mean, because I really liked the way he looked his first year. But Dak is what you call slew-footed, if I'm not mistaken. He's slew-footed. You know, those feet go out. And that's a difficult way to run. It's a really difficult way to run. I mean, just being slew-footed alone is what make you not be fluid as a runner. You know, it's like guys who are bow-legged, or no, not a bow-legged, guys who are pigeon-toed. My son is pigeon-toed. It's not a very natural-looking run because of the way they have to run being pigeon-toed. You know, the toes are pointed in. So it's a little bit more, I don't know if it's a little bit more effort, but it's the way they have to run in ways to where their toes don't hit each other. You know, their feet don't get tangled, you know, and things of that nature. The same thing with someone who runs slew-footed. I mean, they're literally running with their legs pointed, their feet pointed outward, because the drop hip tackle on Dak by the guy from the Giants, the reason why Dak's ankle broke outward is because he's slew-footed. If Dak wasn't slew-footed, the injury probably isn't as severe, but it definitely doesn't break outward. And so Dak, that in itself stops Dak from being, quote unquote, a very fluid runner. But I tell you this, I've already said it before. Dak needs to call Patrick Mahomes. Dak needs to get, and I said it the moment he got the injury, Dak needs to get a track coach. In his rehab, Dak needs a track coach. Jay Recruiter said Dak messed up his leg with that woman. Oh, boy, you killing me right now. Boy, y'all killing me right there with Dak. I would sit Bland down too. Right now. I wouldn't have brought Bland back. I wouldn't have brought him back. He's too valuable because he is probably going to be your number one cornerback now. And if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I'll be honest with you. I'm going in the draft and get me a cornerback. I'm going in the draft and I'm going to get me a cornerback. You think about this, guys. I was looking at the list of the players that the Cowboys have already lost. And it's even more than this. But I want you to think about this. Michael Gallup retired. Sam Williams injured, out for the season. Austin Richards played, out for the season. Marquise Bell out for the season. Kalen Carson played, out for the season. Josh Butler played, out for the season. Dak Prescott out for the season. D-Law, we're going to wind up probably saying out for the season. Zach Martin out for the season. Demarion Overshown out for the season. Trevon Diggs out for the season. That's not even counting the injuries of Deron Bland, Micah Parsons, Brandon Cooks. Man, the injuries have been crazy on this team. Crazy on this team. But the one about Trevon Diggs and Dak Prescott, they bother me. They bother me because it makes me wonder if these guys came back too early. If they came back too early. I just don't know. And that gets to you as a team. It does. The Cowboys' weakness is GM for sure. It's impulsive, fourth for Domingo, a fourth for Lance, and possible $20 million hit all for what? The Jonathan Mingo thing didn't make sense at all. It just didn't. I don't listen to anything Mr. Burnout, DeMarcus Lawrence. But wait, Fred, hold on. I think DeMarcus Lawrence was saying something, though, that we do have to examine. When DeMarcus Lawrence said this team was burned out, I think what he was talking about is, I want y'all to think about this. You play for the Dallas Cowboys. There is no team that gets covered like this team. No team that gets covered like this team. And if you don't think people talking about you bothers you, it does. Now, some of us take that energy differently. Some of us can take that negative energy, absorb it, and then we can channel how we respond, as in, okay, that's what you're saying about me? Watch me when you see me the next time. And we'll take that negative energy and we will, with our positive energy, we'll destroy it. And we'll be who we are. We'll be who we are. We'll rise to the occasion. Guys like Michael Jordan did this stuff. Kobe Bryant did this stuff. I mean, great players, they do this stuff. But there are some people that can't take all that negative energy. Y'all remember, I did videos when I first started this channel. I was talking about how Dak Prescott was asking the press to be nice to this team. Why was he asking them that? Because Dak realized they're always in their phones. They get on their phones after games. Y'all might not realize, but Dak be revealing so many things, man. If you pay attention, Dak, everything we're seeing about this team right now, Dak was revealing it all. Y'all remember what happened? Trevon Diggs, him and the reporter, these nuts, all that stuff. Who goes and gets on their phone immediately after a game? Who? That's the last thing I'm doing, y'all. I'm a professional football player. I am not about to go on social media and start reading what people are saying about me. And even now, I'm smart enough that there are certain people, if I see them in my comments, there are certain people when I see them, I'm not dumb enough to go through and read all their comments. Because I know they're going to be saying derogatory things. So why would I entertain that? And what I'm saying, we live in a different age, Freddie, because I think me and you, we kind of from this same era. We didn't have social media. The worst thing in social media is the like button. The like button and the dislike button. Everybody wants the like button, but nobody wants the dislike button. And we, in this society, social media affects us mentally. Everybody's always talking about mental health. Well, we're dealing with one of the things that contributes to the worst mental health you could ever speak of, and it's spiritual health in reality. But always listening to the thoughts of people, what they're saying about you. And I think what D-Law was saying is that all of the media coverage, all of the publicity, all of the talking about this team, talk, it got to this team. It got to this team. And I think if you look at this season, even without the injuries, it's still getting to this team. Micah Parsons is the epitome of this. Micah Parsons stays in the media. I mean, think about this dude, man. This is crazy. He was crying about a 5-7 season. You're going to 5-8 and you're not going on a magic. They were not going to the playoffs, y'all. They were not going. There was literally less than zero chance of them going. You're crying? And some of these people were buying into this playoff talk? Buffoonery. That's how mental this team is. It's crazy, y'all. Y'all might not hear me when I'm telling you. It was crazy for this team and this fan base to be 5-7 without our starting quarterback. If Dak Prescott was healthy and we were 5-7 and we'd have hit that stretch, I would have said, are we in? Watch what I tell y'all, we in. We'll go 6-1 down the stretch. No problem. 6-1 down the stretch. We'll get in there. I think we would have won a couple of these other games that Dak's been out. I think we would have finished probably around 10-7 with Dak. But for anyone to realistically be thinking this team was going to the playoffs with Cooper Rush. It tells you the mentality of this team. We're not realistic. And I don't know what other way to say it. We're not realistic. We were not going to the playoffs with Cooper Rush. We were not going. I don't care if another person hadn't got hurt. I don't care if Trevon Diggs hadn't got hurt. I don't care if Overshown hadn't got hurt. We were not going to the playoffs. But I think D-Law, I'm telling y'all, we might be looking at D-Law in a way, but I'm looking at D-Law in a different way. I think D-Law has been revealing some things about this team. And one, I think he was revealing the mental capacity of this team. Look at it. Dak Prescott at the beginning of the season, we may not realize it, even Dak was talking about the mental of this team. Not studying film. Leaving the facility. Football is not their priority. Then when the games come, guess what? They're not in their right positions. They don't know where they're supposed to be. They're missing assignments. Dak was telling us all this stuff about the mentality of this team. We're not practicing hard. Mike McCarthy gets in his feelings. Oh, we are practicing hard, according to the GPS. We could be practicing better, but we are practicing hard. So, Mike, hold on a second. You telling me you practicing hard, but you not practicing good. So, aren't those kind of one in the same? Because what good does it do for me to practice hard if I'm doing the wrong thing? Now, if I'm actually doing the wrong thing, I don't even know if you can consider that practicing hard. But I think Dak was telling the truth on that matter. Dak has been talking about the mentality of this team the whole season. And D-Law in that statement was talking about the mental capacity of this team. Micah said Jerry is his dog. He won't ask for a trade. When I hear a player call the owner his dog, I'm done. I'm done when I hear that, Nisi. That's crazy to me because that's saying to me that, one, he loves the owner no matter what he does. Two, the owner's going to let him do what he wants to do. And Michael and Jerry seem to be one and the same almost. Victor said, where these Cooper Rush fans coming from, man? It was crazy to me. I was never buying it. Never bought it because I knew what Cooper Rush was based on the analytics, the box scores, the stats, the film. It was all there. Cooper Rush gets all the credit for the defense playing out of its mind, getting sacks, getting turnovers, scoring on defense, special teams playing out of their mind, special teams getting touchdowns. Cooper Rush gets all the credit for that stuff when he plays. No, I knew it wasn't going to happen. But it tells you something about this team, the mentality. We thought we could win with Cooper. No. If the Cowboys win out, does that mess up their draft position? It helps them. It helps them. It'll help the Cowboys if they win out, it'll kill them. But they're not gonna win out, so we ain't got to worry about that. When Mingo was on the field, Rush missed him by a mile. He's not the kind of wide receiver Cooper Rush can throw to. He's not. He's down the field. He is a down the field receiver, and the problem is because of Cooper Rush, we're gonna write off Jonathan Mingo. Watch what I tell you. They're going to write off Jonathan Mingo. The level of arrogance Jerry displays toward the fans relative to player acquisition and free agency is disturbing. It is very disturbing. And some of the fan base buy into the nonsense that Jerry talks. It's crazy. Yeah, I hear you, little Dallas Cowboy, but no, Dak's not done. He'll be back. Every team bring their A game against the Cowboys. Kevin, that's the part people don't understand. The Cowboys are playing more playoff games than all the other teams. My dad, my uncle, used to explain this to me when I was younger, and I didn't even understand what they were talking about back then. They were telling me, even when I was younger, they would say, hey, everybody gives the Cowboys their best shot. And I was like, what does that mean? But as I've gotten older, I've realized everybody give the Cowboys their best shot. And you better believe the Carolina Panthers are going to give the Cowboys their best shot tomorrow. They are going to give the Cowboys their best shot. What's going on, Lord Nova? They're going to give Cowboys their best shot. Sell the Cowboys. He can't do it. It's a part of his advertisement package. It's a part of his business package, Timmy. It's a part of Jerry's portfolio. When Jerry makes business deals, Forbes announced this year, the Dallas Cowboys are worth $10.1 billion. When Jerry Jones goes and talks to investors, the Dallas Cowboys are a huge part of his portfolio. Because, like it or hate it, the Cowboys were not worth that when the Cowboys were not worth that when Tom Landry and Tex Schramm was here. It was a whole different era. The TV money hadn't kicked in. The advertisement dollars were not quite what they were. Football was not quite as popular. But Jerry is one of the reasons, whether we like him or love him. Jerry is one of the reasons why this league is so popular now. One of the reasons why it got so many, I'm sorry. Read Tim Terry's comment. He said, believing in Rush is goofy crap. Man, Tim, stop. Man, there was so many people believing in Cooper Rush. It was disturbing, man. It's disturbing. It's disturbing, man. That Cooper Rush fan base is disturbing. Rush is, yeah. I'm telling you, man, that Cooper Rush fan base needs to be studied. Freddie says if Cincinnati, New Orleans win tomorrow, the boys lose, the boys move up to the 10th spot. Yeah, I think they're going to crack the top 10. Freddie, I think the Cowboys are going to crack the top 10. I do. But every team gives the Dallas Cowboys their best shot. And the Cowboys, it's like they're playing playoff games all during the season. I mean, we could come to a team, it'd be game 6. And they're throwing everything included. Do y'all realize the Detroit Lions threw everything, including the kitchen sink, at the Dallas Cowboys? They threw everything. They threw everything at the Cowboys, who they were 10 times better than. They threw everything. And we get that throughout the season. Some teams, they can't give us because their best shot ain't good enough. But then we get to other teams because they're so good that when they throw those shots, it's one of them shots. It's like a boxer. Okay, I won the fight, but I got my ribs broke. I got hit in the gut. I got hit in the side so hard it broke my ribs. I won the fight, but I got my nose broke. I mean, that's how it be when teams play the Cowboys. I'm telling y'all, Carolina they're gonna play up tomorrow. Yeah, players are auditioning, especially the Panthers. Whole lot of people getting fired. Yes, for sure. Jay Army, what's going on? I'm pretty much about done with the Cowboys. I just can't support a team that doesn't care about winning anymore. It's always, we have no money, we're broke, yet the franchise is worth $10 billion. I can't. And you know what? They are pure liars, Jay Army. They are pure liars when it comes to the money. Stephen Jones, and I'm going to see if I can find the clip. Stephen Jones is talking about expect more of the same next year because of the cap is going to be tight. Stephen is a bold-faced liar. The Cowboys can easily get $100 million under the cap next year, and it won't even hurt them none. Going down the road, it'll actually help them down the road. And I'm going to get to that in just a moment. Uncle Charles says all of this Jerry Jones fault. No matter, how you look at it, created the culture. He created the atmosphere for losing. Started with Barry Switzer. Uncle Charles, salute, bro. It started with Barry Switzer, Uncle Charles. I've been telling my father, Daniel said, about why the Cowboys haven't reached that far into the playoffs is because the Jerry Jones boys won't help the roster, but he chooses to have the blinded hope that we are good. And the problem is our teams are always so top-heavy. that once you knock off our major player in whatever position, we're done. We're done. We're done once you knock us off whatever player. If you knock us off the top, I want y'all to think about this. Could y'all imagine what this team would look like right now without CeeDee Lamb? Imagine what this team looks like without CeeDee Lamb. This team would be done right now without CeeDee Lamb. Thankfully, Rico Dowdle has emerged. So now you got CeeDee Lamb and Rico Dowdle. And I think because of Cooper Rush, Rico Dowdle is even more valuable than CeeDee Lamb. Because Cooper Rush can't get the full potential. He can't get it out of CeeDee. He can't get it out of CeeDee Lamb because it's only going to be run after the catch. So when you think about it, it has to be. It has to be right now. Rico Dowdle is probably going to be the star of this team going forward because he's the best option they have on the team because Cooper Rush is a liability. Yep, Dak lays it on the line for us. We, our fans, need to appreciate that, just how we have it at quarterback. And that's what Dak did this year. I think, going back to a couple of guys on here, Jay Recruiter and Maldonado, I think they might have been right. I think Dak was hurt. Kevin Edwards, he said, I think Dak was injured by a nasty late hit by the Lions. He was hitting that right thigh. Could be too. Yep, could be too. I think whatever the case is, Dak wasn't right. Cowboys about to be knocked out. About to be knocked out like Greg Hardy. You remember when we bought in Greg Hardy? Gabe said that escalated quick, G, from questionable to out for week to 15 season, ending knee surgery in a matter of hours. What's wrong with this picture? Gabe, crazy, isn't it? This is why I'm telling this is why I said from the top, Gabe. How in the world did this man even play last week? He didn't play the week before. It's obvious something was wrong. He played this week. Crazy work. Crazy work. I'm telling you, Romo was out of shape. Yes, Dak takes better care of his body than Tony Romo did. Tony Romo did nothing but play golf in the offseason. That's all he did because he was a great golfer. He still is. Tony Romo, one of those years with the Cowboys, was one shot off. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was only one shot off from the PGA, from making the cut for the tour. Yeah, he had golf dreams. Gee, I love my Cowboys from the depths of my heart, but I have to keep it honest with this organization and say that we haven't been good for a long time. I'm a diehard fan, but Jerry doesn't care. And you know what, Daniel, I think Jerry blew a golden opportunity. As much as I question Mike McCarthy, Jerry Jones can blame 2022 on nobody but Jerry Jones. You had the exact team that you needed. And what I mean by that, you had a team that it was right on the cusp. It was right on the cusp of being a Super Bowl team. All you needed to add, and you had the capability of adding maybe just 2-3 top pieces. Just 2 would have really did it. But if you'd added 3 pieces, this team is a Super Bowl contender. The Cowboys desperately needed another wide receiver last year. And everybody knew it going into that game. They desperately needed another wide receiver. I think the Cowboys even could have picked up another running back. Somebody, even if they were not just somebody who was better than Zeke. Somebody who was, Tony Pollard was the main guy. They were not letting Rico run at the time. I'm sorry, not Zeke. Rico wasn't running at the time. Rico was in and out with injuries. I remember that last season. Should have got another running back. But you didn't have to risk anybody top tier. But to not get a wide receiver and to not get Dan Quinn, a linebacker, to not get Dan Quinn, Bobby Wagner, and maybe add just one more linebacker, that was crazy to have a team that good and not recognize all I need is maybe 2 or 3 pieces. That's what a good GM would have did. That's what the Howie Rosens would have did. Let me put some respect on this man's name. GM, keep forgetting his name. Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes for the Detroit Lions. That's what Brad Holmes would have did. Brad Holmes would have looked at his team and said, no, I got to go out and get another couple of pieces because this team is too good to waste. This team is too good to waste right now. I'm going to get a couple of players, and we're going to make a run. That's not what they did. Jerry wasted a good team. Jerry wasted a good team. He really did. And we'll see what happens on the next go round. Can we catch it again? Because this is why I keep saying 2026, because I believe what they're going to do. I think they're going to hit in the draft this year because they're going to be so high up. I don't think there's no way they're losing in the draft this year. These last few drafts have been very questionable. And I think they've been questionable because if you look at Tankatron, I didn't notice this on Tankatron, but it's something very interesting here. See, getting to the wild card really affects you. You get to the playoffs, you get to the wild card, see, it affects you getting into the playoffs. So you're basically, your draft is like crazy. You're basically, because I've been told anything 15 and up, 20 at the latest, is actually second-round draft picks. Now, I'm sure there's been some draft picks in the late round, in the late part of the draft, number 32, Lamar Jackson, for example, comes to mind. I'm sure there's been some that's been drafted number 32 and 31 that we can say, yeah, those first-round draft picks. But from everything I hear, and I think even if we observe, a lot of times when you get rookies that come in and immediately contribute, these guys that be in the top 15, they're pretty much can't lose on, with the exception of the quarterback. Some of those quarterbacks be going to the top, and man, it'd be very questionable, very questionable. But a lot of those players, they be very good at the top, very good at the top. Tony said too many family members work for the Cowboys GM. Yep, yeah, they are family business, and that affects your judgment. Niece says not the strength and conditioning coach, it's the collective, the owner, the GM, the coach, and said player. Yep, I agree with you there too, and that's why I'm saying they're doctors, the team doctors, the strength and conditioning coach, the GM. What is going on? And I was going to say this before, and I got sidetracked. Thank you for bringing this back to me, Nisi. I want you to think about this. Jerry Jones was asked a question on The Fan 2 weeks ago. And they asked Jerry Jones is too much made of the injury report because you don't seem to mind telling us the injury report. And I thought that question was very interesting because no other team does that. And Jerry goes into this spiel about the NFL is very serious about the injuries, and they want to know this type of stuff. And I know why they want to know it too, because Vegas want to know it too, so Vegas can know how to set them betting lines. But I want y'all to think about what Jerry does. Jerry is also, and I'm not talking about manifestation, Jerry also tries to put pressure on his players through the media to play. It's psychology in a sense. Oh, yeah. You know what? Yeah. Trevon, he's going to play this week. Jerry, could you wait for the injury report to come out before you say that? Yeah, Dak's going to be a go this week. Yeah, Zach's going to be a go this week. Jerry, could you wait for the official injury report But Jerry ain't trying to wait on the official injury report because Jerry is trying to send a message, because the Cowboys, anybody that live in this area, in this DFW area, will know what I'm talking about. Jerry does this, especially through 105.3 The Fan. When Jerry starts getting into this thing with contracts, Jerry starts working through the media. Jerry will start tearing a player down through the media. There'll be things, Jerry will start talking about a player's stats, like he was talking about Amari Cooper disappearing in games and doing all this and doing all of that. I mean, they'll start downplaying a lot of these things, and then all of a sudden weird things start coming up about these players. I mean, it's like crazy stuff. Jerry has been manipulating these players through the media for a long time. Gee, maybe you're right. The team or the players coming off any leg injury needs to work with a track coach. And I think they need to get the Nisi. I also think they need to get the opinion of a doctor outside of the Cowboys, because I know people say, oh, the Cowboys got the top doctors in the world. I'm not hearing that. They also have an ulterior motive. They're employed by the Cowboys. I'm not trying to question integrity. I'm just saying it's almost like a conflict of interest. It's a conflict of interest. And so it makes me wonder about some of these things. Suge McKnight. You know what? I won't be surprised. Suge, CeeDee Lamb, I won't be surprised. But you know what? I'm going to play you something about CeeDee before I say anything. Janie says, Jerry Jones to me has a lot to do with that. Does he really care about the players? To him, money takes center stage. And I'm telling you, it's funny, Janie, because they were asking him a question that really needs to be answered. And Jerry didn't really answer it in the way I thought he should have answered it, because the reality is Jerry shouldn't be doing that. Jerry actually shouldn't be telling on the radio station who's playing. Leave that to the injury report. Yeah, they do. Midnight. They need to work through free agency this year, but I don't think they're going to do it. Oh, I think they may do it. I think they may surprise us and maybe do one, but they won't do a lot. When DeMarcus Moore went to Denver, their offseason program included yoga. Yes. Troy, let me tell you something. I don't know if anybody's ever tried yoga, but I did P90X a few years ago. And one of the DVDs I hated the most was the yoga. I hated it. Yoga, man. People might think yoga easy. It'll wear you out. Worse than a weightlifting session. If Jerry cares only about the money, why wouldn't Jerry want to win another Super Bowl? Do you realize how much the team's value would soar if they won a Super Bowl? You know, Freddie, I've often wondered this. I don't think Jerry doesn't want to win. But how much is enough winning for Jerry? How much is enough? Because, again, that team he had last year, that team was literally on the cusp. All he needs to do is one or two more players, and they're in. You can't go into a playoff game with safeties at linebacker. It's a recipe for disaster. You're just not going to win like that. So if Jerry was serious about winning, he would at least got him some linebackers. I mean, when you see what a team needs and you don't get it because you're saying we like the players that we have, no one says that who's truly running for a chip unless they know they have the best, pretty much the best team. And that the best team has to not only be based on record, but the best team has to be based on who they beat in the record. You think about last year. The Cowboys failed. You think about in their 12-5 season. And then I'm going to let y'all hear something that CeeDee Lamb said today that I really liked. But when you think about the Cowboys, 2023 season, there were a couple of games in the Cowboys 2023 season that had me really going, because the Cowboys were 12-5. I'm gonna show you the games that really had me going, The Lions game, that game was crazy, and especially how it ended. And I think the Cowboys should have won the game. The Lions cheated. Or, I'm sorry, Dan Campbell tried to use what they call gamesmanship, but he was trying to cheat. But nevertheless, the Cowboys won that game 2019. That game was very concerning to me, even though they won, because there were a couple of turnovers in that game that kept the Lions in the game. Then when I look at the Dolphins versus Cowboys game, that was a big game. They lost that game. When I look at the Cowboys-Bills, they lost 31-10. Those types of games right there, those are the games that would have made me go, hold on a second. The Bills are a playoff team. The Dolphins are a playoff team. The Lions are a playoff team. And we struggled against those teams. So since we struggled against those teams, this was a game. The 49ers, 42-10, playoff team. So I'm showing y'all a trend. The Cardinal game, that was, okay, I can understand the Cardinals. We got whooped on that one because of the way we were running our offense. But the 49ers game, very concerning. The Lions, very concerning. The Dolphins, very concerning. The Bills, very concerning. And so you think about what Jerry did in 94. Troy Aikman throws 3 interceptions in the playoff game against the San Francisco 49ers. I'm thinking it was the divisional round. He throws 3 interceptions. Jerry Jones looked at that game, and Jerry Jones said, we need more help. He went and got Deion Sanders. Well, why don't you look at these? Why didn't he look at these games and go, we basically lost to 4 playoff teams? All those teams they lost to were playoff teams. So if you're losing to playoff teams, I mean, you think about these other wins. And this is why I say, all wins are not the same. They all count the same, but they're not the same. I mean, when you're out here throwing up 40 burgers on the Giants, and you're beating the Jets 30-10 and 38-3 on the Patriots. I mean, these are terrible teams. The Chargers was a quality win. The Rams, though, 43-20. They're reeling from the winning that Super Bowl and salary cap hell and divisional games. You've already owned the division pretty much since Dak Prescott has been there. But the games that should have concerned you were the games outside of the division that you were losing. And so knowing that these are the types of teams you're going to face in the playoffs, then why don't Jerry say, we need more? We need more. Because that's what other teams are saying now. They're looking, y'all know what the Philadelphia Eagles did? I'm going to tell y'all something the Philadelphia Eagles did. Let me read a couple more of these. The head coach needs to have a blackout period with no phones. Woo, yes. Yes. And so does the players too. I already told, let me hit y'all with this one right here. Yeah, our social media was the chat line. And I'm telling you, this thing is different today with this social media. But I want y'all to understand something the Philadelphia Eagles did that we won't give them credit for. But I'm going to give them credit for it. I'm going to give them credit for it right now. Y'all know what the Philadelphia Eagles did that the Cowboys don't do anymore? The Philadelphia Eagles built their team, number 1, to beat the Dallas Cowboys. Do y'all know the Philadelphia Eagles got tired of losing to Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys? They built their team to beat the Dallas Cowboys. Because to beat the Dallas Cowboys means we win the division. What did Green Bay show us the Cowboys couldn't do? They couldn't stop the run. So who did the Philadelphia Eagles go get? Saquon Barkley. They already have two really good wide receivers. Match up with our cornerbacks. They went and got them two cornerbacks. One to make sure they hold CeeDee Lamb. They built a team, y'all, whether we understand it or not. Howie Rosen is genius in what he did. First, he said, I want to win the division. The way we win the division is we beat the Dallas Cowboys. So once we get past the division, what do we do next? Okay, so now how do we win the conference? Saquon Barkley is that also. Because Saquon Barkley is going to help the Dallas Cowboys. Saquon Barkley is going to help the Philadelphia Eagles propel to that number one seed. And they're going to have an opportunity. I still got to see what the Detroit Lions do down the stretch because the Detroit Lions have a juggernaut of a team. But the Philadelphia Eagles did exactly what Jerry Jones did in '94. Jerry Jones looked at the fact that he lost and said, no, we need more. And he went and got more. That's exactly what you do. You look at your opponents and you say, how do we beat the opponent that's stopping us from getting to the Super Bowl? That's how you build your team. Y'all might not realize it. Dan Campbell, their team, it's genius what they did. They built a team. They built a team that could beat the Dallas Cowboys. They built a team that could beat the Eagles. The Detroit Lions looked at the competition and said, let's go out and get players so we can beat the guys who win, whoever wins their division. Let's build a team that not only can win our division, but a team that can win the conference. That's what the Lions and the Eagles did. And it's no wonder that they're the number one and the number two team. And I think the Minnesota Vikings are a little ahead of schedule because Sam Darnold's not going to be the quarterback next year. They're actually going to bring in their real quarterback. And they're going to try to make a run with him, which they're going to try to make a run with Sam Darnold too. But I just don't trust Sam Darnold. I do not trust Sam Darnold. And so I do believe that it's going to be between the Eagles and the Detroit Lions. But they did something that the Cowboys refused to do. You should be taking notes on your team, realizing what your team is, and then you build your team to beat the opponent that keeps stopping you from, one, winning your division. You build a team then that says, okay, we can beat our division. Can we win the conference? And then when you get to the trade deadline, you say, okay, have we achieved our goal? And if we've achieved our goal of maybe we can win the division, can we win the conference? If we've achieved our goal of we can win the conference, where are we lacking? Do we have any injury issues? Is there another player we can bring on? Can we win the Super Bowl? I believe that Detroit, the Eagles, and the Minnesota Vikings, they have built rosters that can go up against Kansas City, Buffalo, Pittsburgh for sure. And I think at the end of the day, that's pretty much all they have to worry about. I think the Detroit Lions can beat any team in the AFC. I think the Eagles can beat any team in the AFC. Minnesota, I gotta give it to Sam Darnold in the Minnesota Vikings. They could probably beat most of those teams over there, especially with the weapons they have. What's going on, Brother Rod? Appreciate that 199 super chat. What's going on, man? You at the JLB today? But I'm telling us, the Cowboys, we are very stubborn. We're not doing some of the things these other teams are doing. We're not doing that stuff, and we should be doing that stuff. We should be looking at who our opponents are. And when we know who our opponents are, who is stopping us from getting to the Super Bowl, or who's stopping us from winning the division, then we go out and we get the players to be able to overcome those teams. And we don't do that. We're so arrogant. It's like we don't even evaluate our division. We just roll up and say, oh, it don't matter. We got these players. We got these players, and they're out of bed to win. Nisi said the Cowboys are the only team that keeps the cap money in escrow. For sure. And our fan base, we buy all the lies of the Joneses. Some of us are still walking around buying the lies of we don't have the money because of the salary cap. And it's crazy because the only reason we don't have the money is because we don't want it. We have an owner who literally wasted $30 million in salary cap, waiting to the last minute to sign Dak Prescott and waiting to the last minute to sign Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. Jerry Jones could have easily saved $20 million. And I believe Dak Prescott would have gave us a discount had we not rolled up Trey Lance up in here like a ballerina, acting like he going to take Dak's spot. Oh, yeah, this team, I'm telling you, without CeeDee Lamb, this team, it would be done. It would be done right now without CeeDee Lamb. And thankfully, Rico has come on at the end because he's opened up the play action that Cooper Rush can't succeed with because he can't throw the ball past 10 yards. Robert said you said something sneaky interesting the other day, G. Might try to re-sign Trey Lance. What other reason would they have not to play him? Oh, no doubt. Robert, I'm telling you. When I saw Trey Lance come in that Philadelphia game, man, I said, this dude is playing on a different level, man. This dude playing on a different level, man. He playing like he in here to try to win. He's up in here playing like he trying to get a spot. And I don't think Jerry liked that. I don't think Jerry liked that because I think he want to try to bring him back on the cheap. I think he want to try to bring him back on the cheap, but I hope Trey Lance gets an opportunity. Oh, yeah, Daniel, Jerry has the wrong philosophy. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And so I'm telling you, man, the Cowboys do not do the things that some of these other GMs, what's going on 70s? He doesn't do what you can tell that these other teams have done. These other teams have looked at who has been beating us. The Philadelphia Eagles built a team that could beat the Cowboys. The Detroit Lions built a team that could beat the Cowboys. You know what they said? Who's been winning? Who's been the conference? Who's been the divisional champ? Who's been the conference champ? They built a team that could beat them both. They built a team that could beat them both. They did. And so we're going to see a clash of the Titans when it comes down to the Eagles and the Lions. Big Country, what's going on? He said you was about to speak on the fans going to bash Mingo because of Cooper. Speak on that. Yeah. We're going to call Jonathan Mingo trash because Cooper Rush can't get him the ball. People going to say, and they're already saying it, Jonathan Mingo wasn't worth a 4th round draft pick. Why? Cooper Rush. I've already heard people saying it. It's not Mingo's fault. I said it before. People were all on the Rush train. They were all on the Rush train. There is no way you can evaluate the wide receivers on this team with Cooper Rush. We don't know what Ryan Flanoy is. We don't know what he is. And we're not going to know what he is with Cooper Rush. He, if I'm not mistaken, was supposed to get the start last week. Did anybody ever hear his name? Jonathan Mingo. We didn't even hear his name. The only name you're going to hear on this team with Cooper Rush is CeeDee Lamb, Ferguson, Brandon Cooks. Everybody else will be falling in between. He might throw something here and there to Tolbert. But even with Tolbert, we're not going to fully know what he is. But I think the Tolbert experiment is probably over for the Cowboys. I think the Tolbert experiment is going to be over. I got a feeling that the Cowboys are going to let Tolbert walk. Because if I'm the Cowboys, this is what I'm keeping. CD, of course. Jonathan Mingo gave up a fourth. Brandon Cooks, too expensive. I'm letting him go. Jalen, what's his name? Jalen Brooks, I think it is. He can go. Tolbert, I'm letting him walk. I'm keeping Ryan Flanoy. And then I'm going in the draft and I'm going to get me a super stud. I'm going in the draft and get a super stud. I'm not keeping those 3 wide receivers. Cooks, Brooks, Tolbert, they can go. But we're not going to be able to evaluate Jonathan Mingo. We're not going to know what he is until Dak gets back in training camp. I bet you this. I bet you Jonathan Mingo going to look different with Dak Prescott. I promise you he's going to look different with Dak Prescott. Jonathan Mingo is going to be the new and improved Michael Gallup. He will be the new and improved Michael Gallup with Dak Prescott. Jonathan Mingo, big-bodied wide receiver, speed, catch radius, can go up and get the ball. He will be, you watch what I tell you, he will be the new Michael Gallup for this team. Let me read a super chat. Keedy boy, appreciate the super chat. What's going on? Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. I'm telling us, this team did not do some of the things that these other teams did when it came to winning. And you just reminded me also, No Cap. I see you up in the chat. What's going on? You think about what the 49ers have done almost every year. The 49ers got bit with the injury bug this year. But the 49ers, year after year after year, John Lynch has built a team that could get to the Super Bowl. His only shortcoming, he hasn't built a team that could win the Super Bowl. And he's been doing a good job, but he hadn't built a team. And you look at to me, what I think they look at that has been the weak link of the Super Bowl teams, the quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy. Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy. They consider them to be the missing link. At least I know Kyle Shanahan does. That's what he considers to be the weak link. That's why they were talking about that if Matthew Stafford became available, he might want him. He tried to get Tom Brady, come out of retirement, play one more year. Because Kyle Shanahan is like, man, we got this great team. We've built this team that it can win the division. It can win the conference. But doggone it, we keep coming up against the Kansas City Chiefs. We need a team that when it comes down to the quarterback being able to make one throw. Jimmy Garoppolo was one throw. One throw. Brock Purdy, what, maybe 1 or 2 throws? 1 or 2 throws. Shanahan is saying, I got the run game. I have the receivers. I have the defense. The only thing the team is missing, I need, and he's not saying I need Patrick Mahomes, but what he is saying is I need the quarterback that when I do need that one throw, can he make it? And at this point, like I said, though, with the 49ers, I don't know if he ever would have got it, but that's exactly where he was. That's exactly what he was. But the Cowboys don't build their teams like that. They're very arrogant. It's like they They say we have the best players at a position. We don't care about the team. Everything else is going. Did Diggs get hurt running from a tackle? I think he's been hurt all season, Chris. What's going on? I think he's been hurt all season. No Cap said that Dallas should think about drafting a corner. Oh, I said it earlier, no Cap. No, they have to get a corner. And I don't think it'll be in the first round, but they have to get a corner. They're going to have to get a corner now. Diggs has put them in a very precarious situation. They're going to have to get a corner. And I think they also need to get a corner because I don't think they need to bring Diggs back early again. Don't bring Diggs back early again. Diggs needs to sit out. Troy, they have zero depth at wide receiver or running back. Yes. That's why I say at cornerback, they desperately, they need to let CD sit out. Because at this rate, CD, what is this, week 15? Week 16? I mean, CD should probably miss the entire 2025 season, just like the Mariano Overshown. I don't know about Philly. If a team stops Barkley, Hurts would have to step up throwing the ball. But they're built. I think the backup is Saquon Barkley. While he's not Saquon Barkley, I think he's built. Appreciate you, Kitty boy. I think they're still constructed because Jalen Hurts, remember, he's an extension of the running game. Jalen Hurts is an extension of the running game. And so Jalen Hurts can still, with who they have, number 14, I think they can still win. Getting beyond Detroit, though, I do think it would be hard. Lost in translation. What's going on? He said most teams keep things close to the vest. Jerry's out there topless. And I think that question they asked him on 105.3 The Fan was powerful. Why do you give up this information, Jerry? Why do you? It's vital information because you're basically giving teams like inside information to who they know they might need to come at. Who they know they might need to come at and stuff like that. So I'm telling us, it's crazy. No Cap says the wide receiver from Stanford is my draft crush. He's a stud. Man, I'm going to tell you, this is a very heavy wide receiver running back draft. You have no excuse. The Cowboys have no excuse not to get CeeDee Lamb a counterpart because he needs one bad. He needs one bad. And that's why I keep telling y'all, I think this team is going to make a run in 2026 because 2025 is going to be a team building year. 2025 is going to be a team building year because this team is going to bring in rookies and they're going to have to be developed and they're going to come around in their second year. So I think 2025 will be another building year. I think the Cowboys will continue to improve. But I also think that it won't be until 2026 that the Cowboys really make the ferocious run because I think that this team is going to get their Super Bowl in 2026. Even without doing anything in free agency, I think they're going to get it. I think they're going to get what they need. But I want to let you hear something real quick. I want to let you hear something that CeeDee Lamb said. And, when we think about, we talk about leadership on this team. We've talked about mentality and all these different things. I have got to admit, let me pull up CeeDee Lamb's interview this week. CeeDee Lamb said something in an interview this week. I have to admit, this is one of the best things I've heard one of these players say in a long time. Let me cue up CeeDee Lamb, man. This dude, Angie says he's a supermodel. She's not on here tonight, but she always had me laughing because she say he's a supermodel. And he is a finesse receiver. He is. It's no getting around it. But I also think that what teams are doing to CeeDee Lamb this year and how they're playing him so physical, I also think that they're transforming CeeDee Lamb into what we may be watching next year. We may be watching a brand new CeeDee Lamb next year. That CeeDee Lamb may move from supermodel to an actual gritty wide receiver, a more physical wide receiver. I think that's what they're transforming him into, and I absolutely love it. I want y'all to hear what CeeDee Lamb said. I'm just telling you, man, I have to say, I am so impressed with what he said, because I told y'all before, the thing that Micah Parsons has been bothering me with is that Micah Parsons is trying to self-appoint himself as a leader. CeeDee Lamb is out here with an AC joint issue. You can tell he's in pain while he's playing, but he's still playing. Let me cue up what he said this week that really made me go, there is hope for this team. Don't give up yet. Let me cue it up. Y'all give me just a second. And what I'll do is, because the interview is so short, it's like 4 minutes and 55 seconds. I'll play each little thing, like every little question every question and answer he gets. I'll go with that, and we can all listen to it, and then y'all tell me what y'all think. Denise said, Jerry, it's out of Trader Joe's telling all the business. No doubt, Niecy. No doubt. But we're gonna listen to CeeDee Lamb, and I'm gonna let y'all hear. This is what's giving me hope. And I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna see if I can come back kind of where Kitty Boy is, because this is kind of where I've been. But I want y'all to hear CeeDee Lamb and how I believe that we are watching CeeDee Lamb mature and toughen up right before our eyes. And we're now watching another offensive leader on this team. Listen to CeeDee.
How are you feeling this week at this stage, and what are you dealing with most here?
You just want me to tell all my injuries now.
Now, did y'all catch what CeeDee did right there? CeeDee cleverly says, you want me to tell all my injuries. Why would I tell you everything that's wrong with me, knowing that the other team can be listening to this stuff? Why would he be telling? We already know he's got an AC joint issue. Continue to listen to CeeDee Lamb. This dude is dropping dimes.
Not all,
just a shoulder. Just a shoulder. Other than that, I'm pretty healthy.
Does it impact you at all during the games, or is it just?
Not really, because adrenaline get going, and then I'm trying to make plays for my guys. I'm not really so much worried about being hurt. Obviously, I know what's going on leading up into it, and as far as the preparation that I need going out throughout the week. But when I get out there, man, I'm thinking about winning a football game.
This is the kind of talk you want to hear from a leader right here. This is leadership talk. No excuses. He's not making excuses. No, CeeDee Lamb says no. When I get on the field, I'm not thinking about being hurt. I'm thinking about winning. I'm thinking about playing. I'm thinking about balling. This is what you want to hear from a leader on your team, not a self-appointed leader. I got to give it to CeeDee Lamb. As much as we say he's a finesse receiver, as much as we say he's been a diva from time to time, especially at the beginning of the year, as much as we said so many things about CeeDee Lamb, haven't heard no excuses. Haven't heard any. He's been consistent every week. He's balling. He's playing. He's not saying stupid stuff like playoffs. He's not saying none of that stuff. He's not saying, no. He is leading by example, what he's putting out there and what he's leaving on the field. That's what you judge a leader by. I love it. I love what he's saying. Listen.
Especially you talk to the younger receivers about how to fight through those things, especially because you guys get nicked up a lot and you have to fight through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's you just understanding your pain tolerance, if so much to say. And obviously, if it's impeding with what you do, like as far as contributing to the team and contributing to winning, then I suggest you sit out because I don't want you to embarrass yourself. Granted, the competitiveness and everything as far as pride goes, that you want to be out there. But if it's not going to be like positive for anybody, or you're not going to be able to be who you are out there on the field, then don't risk it. But if you have a chance of going out there and still having an opportunity of withstanding those injuries, or just withstanding the burden of the injury and still being able to play at a high level, then you're fine.
Mic drop. Mic drop by CeeDee Lamb. Did y'all catch what he said? I heard this interview earlier, and I was so impressed. And he hadn't even got to the part that really impressed me. I didn't catch that part, but everything that he's saying in this interview, I'm telling you, is so impressive. Did you catch what he said? He's not telling young players to play injured. He just said, if it's going to hurt the team and you can't play to your ability to help the team, sit out. That's exactly what I said about Trevon Diggs. I don't think Trevon Diggs should have played against the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think he should have played. Because when you start talking about growing injuries, calf injuries, and the way we've been watching Trevon play, I don't think Trevon should have been playing. I think he came back too early. He probably should have sat out the first 4, 6, 8 games. I don't think Trevon trusted that leg at all this season. I don't. I think he's probably been overcompensating. I think he's been doing a whole lot of things. And so that in itself was enough reason for Trevon not to play. And so I love the CD. He's saying something based on everything that I've been talking about and some of the stuff we've been saying. No, do not go out there and play hurt. Don't risk your career. Don't risk your career for this team. Don't risk your career. Don't hurt the team by playing hurt, knowing you're not going to be able to play up to your full potential. Don't do it. No. Understand your pain tolerance. Understand your pain tolerance. Know the difference between, and he's not saying this, but he's implying it. Know the difference between being injured and hurt or sore. Know the difference. Know the difference. And if you're hurt or if you're hurt or sore, go get checked out to make sure you're not injured. Sometimes you could just have a bruise, but you get checked out to make sure you don't have a tear in a muscle, tear in a tendon. Make sure there's not a fracture. You check that stuff out. But once you know the degree of however you're injured and what could happen if you damage it further, or can you damage it further, or there's no possible damage of further damage. Okay, now what's my pain tolerance? What's my level of pain tolerance? Can I play? Can I play? Can I still cut? Can I make a catch? Can I hit the ground? Will I be able to do all of these things to the point to where I'm not out here fumbling the ball? To where I'm not out here where I can't make tackles? Can I not cover? Can I not get down the field? Whatever it is, CeeDee Lamb just said a mouthful. You have to know all of these things. I love it. He's not trying to set a bad precedent. He's not trying to endanger anyone. No. Know your body. Know your body. This is your career. Do not be out here hurting the team, and don't be out here hurting yourself. CeeDee Lamb, this is leadership talk, y'all. This is leadership talk.
What's the motivation to play for now?
What you mean? Still to win a game, regardless. At the end of the day, still got to win a game. That's the motivation.
Even after that loss, there's still actually a chance you guys could, slim, but a chance you guys could get in the playoffs. How do you think about that?
We got to win out. So in order for anything else to happen, all the help that we need, we still have to do our part.
Is there a lot of talk about that?
No. We just need to focus on one game at a time. We don't need to.
Right there. That statement right there. I'll follow this man. Right there. That's all I needed to hear. That's the kind of person I'll listen to. I'm not listening to somebody talking outlandish scenarios of the playoffs. I'm not listening to that. It's outlandish talk. Even Jerry called it outlandish. And if Jerry called it outlandish, it's pretty outlandish. This man said exactly what a leader should say. What's your motivation? To win. I'm a football player. I'm a professional. That's what I get paid to do. There's nothing more, nothing less. He said, it's my motivation is to win the game. With all the things that would have to happen for the playoffs, shut that noise down, CD. Shut it down. We have to do our part one game at a time. Shut up all this stupid stuff. This man ain't, let me tell y'all something. CD ain't worried about no playoffs. He just told us in that statement. The Eiffel Tower would have to actually be straightened out in order for the Cowboys to go to the playoffs. It's going to take a total collapse from 4 other teams for the Cowboys to go to the playoffs. Why even talk about that stuff? Why even entertain that kind of nonsense? Just go out there and play the game. Play to win. Play hard. If you win, you win. If you don't, you gave it your all. I've told y'all, I said it the other week. Cheerleaders try to wheel wins. Real leaders, they lead you into battle, win or lose. That's what a real leader does. I'm not trying to follow a cheerleader. I'm not trying to follow someone who's, oh, yeah, man, it's a great possibility. Yeah, a run is real. Shut your mouth. It's stupid talk. I'm not following somebody who's trying to, I'm not following somebody who's trying to manifest and will and speak it into existence. Man, that's stupid talk. We grown men. There's another team out there that wants to beat our brains in the ground. No, we got to go out here and do it on the field. And we can't be looking down the road. One game at a time. One game at a time. We play to win. Boy, I'm telling you, CeeDee Lamb, y'all, I believe CeeDee Lamb has matured right before our eyes. He's not where he needs to be. But he's definitely further than what he was when we first saw him in this season, man, because I'm telling you, CD was straight tripping with some of the stuff he was doing on the sideline. A little bit of his talk in the press. He's sounding a lot more like Dak Prescott. And I can appreciate a person like this. I can appreciate it. I can follow a person like this. I'm willing to listen to a person like this. You can go listen to the rest of that because that was the part right there that I was so impressed with. And I'm just like, wow, man, CeeDee Lamb that is the exact kind of talk that you want right there. I put the link down there in the description. You can go listen to the rest of that. It's not a very long interview, but CeeDee says some good things in that interview. Excuse me. He says some good things in that interview, and I think that's the way that you need to be talking as a Dallas Cowboy. And I think the stuff that Micah Parsons was doing was very detrimental to the team. Keedy Boy said Parsons is not a leader of the team. Remember, D-Law told him to shut the F up on the sideline. Yep. Exactly, because D-Law was saying something. Man, you're doing all that talking, but your play on the field is not showing it. It's not showing it. I mean, the dude registered goose eggs. And I'm laughing. Everybody keep talking about quarterback pressures. Someone's told a very telling stat. They said that Micah Parsons, even with injury, he has the second most quarterback pressures in the league. To me, quarterback pressures are nothing but a cute stat. It's cute. It's cute. It's for people who like to make excuses. It's for people who like to say, well, he didn't get no tackles. He didn't get no assisted tackles. He didn't get no sacks. But, boy, he caused quarterback pressures. I think he had something like 3.5. I don't know. However many they said he had in there. I don't care if it was 30. What quarterback pressures mean to me is that you didn't get the quarterback, but you pressured him. And if you think about the good quarterbacks, man, the good quarterbacks don't care nothing about no pressure. Pressure is for quarterbacks like Cooper Rush, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, even Matthew Stafford to a degree, even Brock Purdy to a degree. The Josh Allens, the Sam Darnolds even to a degree this year. When you start talking about these good to great quarterbacks, I ain't worried about no quarterback pressure. Quarterback pressure just means you didn't get to me. That's a very cute stat. I'm sorry, I'm not paying no player on quarterback pressures. I'm not. Robert said, hey, everybody, if you here's trying to enjoy the show. If you don't have anything constructive, positive offer, why don't you just bounce? Yeah, that's why, Janie kind of said something yesterday. That's why I haven't been dealing with a lot of the trolling, because we want to make sure the show stays productive. We really do, for people who really want to be, informed and be a part of the discussion. Robert Root said, I hope he don't get hurt because he's dealing with a shoulder injury. And if I know CeeDee Lamb, I believe CeeDee Lamb has probably checked with the doctors enough to say that he's not going to go out there and play, because he's saying the right thing. He's saying don't play if you're hurt. And so I don't think he would be playing unless he knew he could play. Yeah, Clay, what's going on? That's one of the things I mentioned early on. Yeah, the Cowboys have got to go get this man a counterpart, for sure. Yeah, the big decision for Dallas is going to be wide receiver or running back in the first pick. I'll be honest with you, Troy, as much as I've heard and seen about Genty, I do think it's safe to say the Cowboys have so many needs. And if they can crack the top 10, which I think they're going to have a great chance to do, if the Cowboys crack the top 10, I would really see who wants Genty. And then I'm going to trade back and get me an extra pick. There's a team out there that would probably want Genty so bad, they're probably willing to give up their first round this year, their first this year, and their first next year, or their first and their second this year. They're probably going to be willing to give that up for Genty. There are plenty of running backs in this draft. Plenty of running backs in this draft. I would easily go get the top. If I get the trade Genty, I would take their draft pick for this year, and I guarantee you one of these wide receivers in the top 10 will be available for the Cowboys. One of them will be available. Cowboys can go wide receiver in the first, get them an extra second, and you can go and get, there will be another or more great running backs. There will be other running backs that will easily be able to make a difference on this Cowboy team. And depending upon what happens with Rico Dowdle, if I'm the Cowboys, I'm probably going to draft 2 running backs. I'll get me a running back early, and I'll get me a running back late so I can start developing running backs on this team. I would. It's going to be a big decision, but I'm getting a wide receiver. CD is a warrior, true Cowboy. I'm telling you, I wouldn't have agreed with you early on. But what I'm watching from him now, this is exactly what I want to see. CD playing tough, man. He playing tough. I think he's weighed out his injury. I think he's weighed out his injury to where he's not going to hurt himself. All right, y'all hold on a second. Got some jazz music playing in the background somewhere. So, yeah, sorry, I had some jazz music playing in the background. But I think what we're seeing from CeeDee Lamb right now is what I would like to be seeing from other players on this team. What's going on, Jeanette? Yeah, I like what I'm seeing. I like what I'm seeing. And so I think that Lost in Translation said quarterback pressure is like asking a lady for a number. Exactly. Man, I'm telling you, boy, we come up with some of the craziest stats. Man, I don't care nothing about no quarterback pressure. It's just like when someone says someone has potential. Man, you better be careful when people saying you have potential. A lot of times when people say you have potential, that's unachieved success. Someone's saying, man, he had potential, man. He could have been this. Yeah, they're saying that you didn't reach the success that you should have reached. It's one thing when we're saying a person has potential because we're looking at the talent and saying they can do it, but even then we're saying they haven't achieved it. Man, I don't hear about no quarterback pressure. That stuff is it's crazy talk. Freddie says, all I know is that back when Campo was coach, came in last week of the season, needing 8 teams to lose and them to win to get into the playoffs, and it happened. Well, you know what, Freddie? I think CD said exactly what you want to hear. CD said exactly right. One game at a time. That's all you have to do. You don't even have to worry about all that stuff because, like he said, it's too many things have to happen. So don't concern yourself with the things that needs to happen. Just control the part you can control. Play your game and win. Clay Baines, he says first pick wide receiver. That's me too. Second pick wide receiver. Running back. That's me too. Third, fourth, and fifth. Work on offensive linemen. And you know what? I think we got a linebacker problem too, Clay. I think the Cowboys got a linebacker problem. I think the Cowboys need to find a way to get them some linebackers. This is why I say the Cowboys, to me, I think the Cowboys need to play in free agency whether they accept it or not. You need to go in free agency. You can't just build your team off rookies and second-year players. There still needs to be some veteran presence on your team. You still need some veteran presence. I don't care if it's 1 or 2 positions. You need some veteran presence. You got it on your offense. You got Dak. You got CD. Where do you get it on your defense? Because you're going to need something more than Micah Podcast Parsons. You are. Freddie says, now, does that mean I want a playoff spot this year? No, I want that top 10 pick. Yeah, I want the top 10 pick. I think it helps the Cowboys more. I think it helps the Cowboys more if the Cowboys actually get higher in the draft. I just think it helps them a whole lot more. And so, but what I'm seeing from CeeDee Lamb, what I heard from him right there, I like it. I like what I'm hearing. And so the Cowboys, it's going to be very interesting tomorrow. It's an early game. It's a very early game. And this is another evaluation for the Cowboys. How do they bounce back? How do they bounce back? Will Mike McCarthy run the ball? Because I still say Mike McCarthy has still failed to run the ball the way that he should. Run the ball. Freddie, so you saying we will be good with Dowdle for next year? Oh, yeah, for sure. Not maybe as the 1, but the 2 in the 1-2 punch. But depending upon how he performs, maybe he can be the 1. I don't know. Let me see here. I think Rico has shown enough to me that the Cowboys should re-sign him. I really do. I think Rico has shown enough that the Cowboys should re-sign him. But I don't want to go off of 1 year of being healthy, Freddie, because Rico has had some injury issues. He's had some injury issues. And so for me, I would still be a little bit hesitant, but he could definitely be the number 2 depending upon the running back I got, but maybe he could be the number 1 at the beginning of the season, and then he's the number 2 at the second part. But for me, saying 1 and 2, if I got 2 really good running backs, because I'm still going to run one of them 20 to 25 times, and I'm going to run the other one if I can. I'm going to run him another 15 to 20 times. Or I may run both of them 123 and 117 or 20 and 20. I think the Cowboys need to convert this team to a 35 rush minimum per game team. Dak Prescott needs to throw the ball maximum to me 27, 30 times max. Because that's what Troy Aikman did. Troy Aikman didn't throw the ball a lot. I want to minimize, and I don't care if it's Patrick Mahomes. I want to minimize his amount of throws. I want him on a pitch count. 30 tops. 25 is my target. I want to run the ball 40 times a game. 35, 40 times a game. That's me. I think that's a winning formula. I do. Yeah, I don't recall a season where we had so many injuries on any side of the ball. It's been crazy. Jerry put a target on CD's back when he wanted him to wear number 88. Woo! Boy, you said something right there. Yeah, that's a very prestigious number. Quarterback pressure is nothing, but all... Boy, you better believe it, Keedy. That's why this new generation running around here talking about these doggone quarterback pressures. Man, I ain't want to hear about no quarterback pressures. It's crazy talk. Clay says, seems like Mike McCarthy's coming back next year. Free agency philosophy needs to change. No participating in free agency in 2024 was a downfall on this team this season. I think they're going to have to do it. They're going to have to do at least one. You still need some veteran presence on the team. It helps. And I think Micah Parsons needs a veteran on this team. He needs somebody that can knock him down a few notches, but also encourage him and show him how to be a true leader, because Micah is doing so much through trial and error, and there's nobody that'll check him. Now, D-Law checked him, but D-Law not going to be here next year either. I wish D-Law was checking him even more, continuing to tell him to shut the F up. I mean, he needs somebody that'll check him on that level on a regular basis. Somebody who's not afraid to tell him, man, I don't care what you say, your podcast is stupid, and you don't need to be talking about players. He needs someone on the defensive side of the ball. Somebody on the defensive side of the ball that would tell him that. Now, when I was looking here at Rico Dowdle's contract. Rico Dowdle, I want y'all to think about this. Rico Dowdle is literally about to hit the prime of his career. He's only 26 years old. His contract for this season is $1.2 million. It is $1.2 million, y'all. And when you think about that, Rico gonna command some money out there on the open market. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to get, some crazy I don't think he's going to get some crazy contract like Saquon Barkley or a Derrick Henry, but he's only 26 years old. He's going to get paid. Somebody would probably want to pay him $3, $4, $5 million a season. Rico Dowdle is probably going to get paid out there on the open market. Now, the question is, I was trying to see if he's a restricted or an unrestricted. Let me look over here on Sport Track. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, somebody mentioned it earlier. Nah, Rico Dowdle is gone. The Cowboys are going to have to get another running back. Rico gone. Rico Dowdle is an unrestricted free agent next year. He gone. I find it hard to believe that no one's going to offer Rico Dowdle a contract next year. And I'm sorry, Rico Dowdle on the open market is going to beat $2,290,000, basically $2.3 million. Rico Dowdle is going to beat that on the open market. There is a team out there right now that's looking at Rico Dowdle saying, "Oh no, we can do wonders with him. We can do." This dude could be the 1-2. He could be the 2-punch on a really good team out there. Could y'all imagine him being with a running back like Saquon Barkley? Rico Dowdle, y'all, is gonna have some suitors. He will have some suitors. He's gonna have some suitors. So yeah, he's gonna be gone. The thing about Mike McCarthy, you mentioned about Mike McCarthy. I keep saying I don't believe Mike McCarthy will be gone until I see Mike McCarthy, the press conference and Mike McCarthy out the building. Jared, I think it unequivocally shows that Dak is underrated as a leader, because I think what this team has been missing is the leadership of Dak Prescott being on the sideline. Yeah, I mean, Clay, think about it. We got Dak as the overall leader of the team. But you need leaders. Dak is the leader of the team, but he's also the leader of the offense. You need a defensive leader. And Micah isn't it. He's trying to be the proclaimed, but he's not it. Yeah, who's wearing C on the defensive side of the ball? So he's not it, and that's the problem. We would gladly, boy, Wicked, don't even say it. Could you imagine Rico with Najee Harris? Rico gonna get paid, y'all. Rico is going to get paid. Rico is going to get paid. He's an unrestricted free agent next year, and he's not going to be waiting around for the Cowboys. I guarantee you he's not going to be waiting around for the Cowboys on a contract. So now it's even going to be more paramount. The Cowboys are going to have to sign a running back no later than the second round. We are entering into DeMarco. We have officially entered into DeMarco Murray, Ezekiel Elliott territory. We've officially entered into that territory. The Cowboys knew they were not bringing back DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray absolutely showed out, and they went and got Ezekiel Elliott the next season when they built that team. For none other than Tony Romo. And unfortunately, Tony Romo got hurt, and the rest is history, and that's how Dak Prescott came into this thing. Robert says, do you think Jerry would do McCarthy like he did Garrett? You know what, man? I'm telling you. I'm 70-30. They're going to bring back Mike. Well, let me say 80-20. Now, I wouldn't be surprised because if you think about what they did, it depends upon the situation, because they wound up signing Garrett in that season when everybody thought they were going to cut Garrett. They wound up signing him, but then that second one, of course, they didn't sign him. You know what? I just think Jerry, there's something telling me that Jerry may throw us for a curveball. And I would not be surprised. Jerry, to me, they asked him on the fan, with all of this talk about Mike McCarthy and all of the endorsements, well, they're asking him the question that needs to be asked. Well, if he's all of that in a bag of chips, why haven't you signed him? Why haven't you signed him? And so if you, let's see, hold on a second. All right, hold on just a second. All right. All right, let's see. So I'm not going to be, I'm just thinking that Jerry might not be bringing back Mike McCarthy. I think Jerry is going to weigh out his options as it pertains to Mike McCarthy. Now, I've already said before, my biggest problem with Mike McCarthy will not handle the parts he can handle. And he's been atrocious on the play calling. The Cincinnati Bengals game showed it again. Rico Dowdle rattles off a 14-yard run, and then he doesn't go back to the run. He doesn't go back to the run again. Again, y'all. And that's why they a big reason why they lost the game. Yeah, I don't think they want no tape on Trey Lance because I think they want to try to bring him back cheap. Jared, it's going to have to be studied after his career. That's all I can tell you, man. I've never seen nobody hate a person so much. I had to put whatever his name is, KD. I had to put him back. I had to put him in timeout. Dallas will pick up that OC from the Eagles. Man, let me tell you something that's crazy. Let me tell you something that's crazy. Wait a minute. You said the OC from the Eagles? The OC from the Eagles is Kellen Moore. So you talking about Kellen Moore coming back and taking the place of Mike McCarthy? Taking the place of Mike McCarthy? Let's see. I really think that if the Cowboys don't get Vrabel, I just don't know if there's any point in replacing McCarthy. I mean, who are you going to place McCarthy with? That's my problem, Robert. He refuses to commit to the run. People keep talking about everything that lost the Cardinals game. The Cincinnati Bengals game. Mike McCarthy, you got to make it make sense. Rico Dowdle only ran 18 times, 131 yards, and you totally go away from him midway through the fourth quarter? And we're saying that's not bad play calling. That's crazy. You don't have to worry about firing him. You're right on that. Deuce Falco, welcome. He says won't fire Mike McCarthy, but won't re-sign as possible. But you know what? Let me paint an alternate picture for us. What if Mike McCarthy don't sign with the Cowboys? Have we ever considered that part? Mike McCarthy might not sign with the Cowboys. It's rumored that he's only making somewhere between $3 and $5 million. Mike McCarthy is one of the lowest paid head coaches in the league. But if you look at what he's done over the last 5 seasons, he's probably, or at least he's been the most winning, or one of the most winningest. And he's got an excuse in both of his losing seasons. Dak Prescott went down in both of his losing seasons. And a lot of people are probably looking at what Jerry gave him to play with. Jerry probably robbed this man in 2022 by not getting him a linebacker. Jerry probably robbed him. Do y'all realize that Mike McCarthy actually has a case that he could probably plead to another team and could probably get a job elsewhere. I've already heard rumors of the Jets. I'll believe it when I see it. The Bears. I mean, there are going to be jobs available. I would not be surprised if someone would consider Mike McCarthy for a job. I wouldn't, because I don't want to coach. I don't want a coach who won't run the ball. I don't want that coach. Especially when you got a run game. Now, if you don't have a run game, I can deal with you. But when you got a running game and you don't run, no, I can't deal with you. Rico is 269 away from 1,000. I didn't realize he was that close. Oh, he getting it. If Mike McCarthy, book it. If Mike McCarthy will give Rico Dowdle 25 carries a game for the next 2 games, he will eclipse that 1,000-yard mark in the second game. And if he runs him 25 times the next 4 games, watch out. Rico Dowdle is going to be one of the top rushers in the NFL before it's all said and done. Rico Dowdle is going to eclipse 1,000. If they'll let him run, I will not be surprised if he gets 1,200 yards. I will not be surprised. He has literally been running that good. That good. And I've been saying this the whole season. The problem is, it just hadn't been running him. Yeah, they just haven't been running him. I mean, when you look at him compared to, look at this. This is insanity when you think about this with Rico Dowdle. Look at this. We have an OC/coach. He's reluctant to run the ball. Look at where Rico Dowdle ranked, y'all. How do you be ranked number 21? Now, we were last in rushing for much of the season. Look at Rico Dowdle. He's only got 152 attempts, 731 yards. If they were running Rico Dowdle more, Rico Dowdle would easily be top 15 in this league. He would be there this week, I believe, had they ran him more carries. Rico Dowdle probably would have had a 200-yard game this game. Let that sink in, Cowboy fans. Let's think about some of the running backs that he's behind. He's not far behind Jordan Mason, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon. He's not far behind. Look at how many attempts they have versus him. He's just not far behind. The issue with Rico, we just hadn't given him the ball. And he's missed. Keep this in your mind. He missed the game. Rico missed a game. He's been averaging only about 18 carries a game. And Rico is at number 21, 731. What is this? I think that's, 4.8 yards per carry. Rico been killing it, y'all. 27 is his longest. And I believe he would have more touchdowns. If they were letting him run in the red zone, he'd have more touchdowns. This man is only running 60 yards a game. That's because we won't run the ball. I'm sorry, y'all, but Rico Dowdle could literally right now, Rico Dowdle could literally be a top 10 back in this league. And I guarantee you there's a team that's looking at that. There's a team that is saying that Rico Dowdle could be a top 10 back in this league with a better team. Rico about to get paid. He is. Until these next 4 games, we won't know for sure. Yeah, Rico about to get paid, y'all. McCarthy's trying to prove that he was right about Cooper Rush by dropping him back like crazy and proving himself wrong. He going to have to back off from Rich Gannon. I'm sorry. If I was Rich Gannon, I'd be calling him on the phone right now. Me and him be having some conversations if I was Rich Gannon. Vrabel would bring structure and discipline to the locker room. That's who to me, he's the last hope. Vrabel is the last hope for this team. Vrabel is it. Because if you're not going to get Vrabel, I'm not bringing in Jason Witten. That would be dumb. If you don't get Vrabel, I mean, who do you bring in? Robert said people not killing, but Philly has the most balanced offense statistically so far this year. You know, it made me wonder. I wouldn't be surprised. But you know what? If Jerry brought back Kellen Moore, Mike McCarthy's gone. I don't believe Mike McCarthy would swallow his pride and let Kellen come back and call the plays. Clay Barnes, I bought this up last night. Because of the clause that is in Bill Belichick's contract. Bill Belichick contract is set up that if he finds a team in the NFL to go to, and if I'm not mistaken, if it's 2 months maybe before June 1st, if that's how I'm reading it, the buyout will be $1 million. If it's post June 1st, it's $10 million. So Belichick set his contract up to where if he changes his mind at the last minute, he can still go to the NFL. Freddie said, my ideal draft would be if the boys could somehow come out of the first round with Genty and Abdul Carter. Well, looking at the fact that Rico is going to be a free agent, it leads me to believe now that the Cowboys, we'll see. But, you know, you think about this. Just because I know Jerry Jones. Yeah, I had to let him go, Troy. Let me tell you about Genty for Jerry Jones. Genty would be a splash pick for Jerry Jones. Genty would be a splash pick. Not that he's a splash pick, because I think Genty is going to be good. I think he's going to be great. But how much attention does Jerry Jones get for drafting Genty? How much you bet if the Cowboys get Genty? How much you bet if the Cowboys get Genty? The fan base explodes. The fan base explodes if the Cowboys get Genty. They do. This fan base explodes. This fan base, the hope will go through the roof. And I do believe that Genty, and not just Genty, I think any of these running backs, right now that's coming out, I think any of them are going to change life for the Dallas Cowboys. But I'll be honest with you. I mean, the way Rico Dowdle is running, I wish the Cowboys could find a way to bring him back and then still draft the running back. Man, it's hard to get two backs in this league. It is hard to get two backs. If I was the Cowboys, I don't understand how the Cowboys operate. I would already be working on Rico Dowdle. I'd sign Rico Dowdle in the season. Right? I'd sign him right now. I wouldn't even let Rico Dowdle get to the open market. I'd sign him now. Because I'm telling us, when Rico Dowdle hits the open market, I think people may be surprised. I think Rico is going to command. I think Rico is going to, the 70s fan, I think there are teams that are probably looking at this saying they're holding him back. Mike McCarthy has unequivocally held Rico back. Jerry Jones unequivocally held Rico back when he brought in Ezekiel Elliott. There are teams that are probably saying that it's the Cowboys' fault why this guy hasn't been top 10. Because I was saying it early on. Because of the Pittsburgh game. If Mike McCarthy would have gave the running duties, to Rico Dowdle, I find it hard to believe Dak would be hurt. I do. I find it hard to believe Dak would be hurt. I haven't done one on Shady, but I am gonna do one on Shady. I'm gonna do one. I talked about him already. He is definitely the Super Bowl the Super Bowl ring. He's definitely the false Super Bowl winner. Rico Dowdle could be cheaper if the coaching staff keeps him under 1,000 yards. Problem is, Clay, I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I think if you only gave Rico Dowdle only leading 269, if Rico Dowdle only ran 10 more carries per game for the next 4 games, he going to hit that. He going to hit it anyway. Deuce Falco, appreciate that $5 super chat. He said, I'm a Ram fan, by the way, but I see Cowboy games all the time. Yeah. Now, do you live out in L.A.? Because if I'm not mistaken, y'all get a lot of Cowboys games out there. From what I hear, the Cowboys are very popular out in that California, especially L.A. area. You know what? Your Rams, I was telling people, Deuce Falco, I was telling people your Rams was the monkey wrench, and I saw it kind of early on. Your Rams was the monkey wrench, was one of the teams that was the monkey wrench for the Dallas Cowboys in our playoff run because, see, the Cowboys losing to the 49ers, and this is some of the stuff that I was looking at, losing to the 49ers was very detrimental to the Cowboys. Because for every team that beat the 49ers, whether if the Cowboys didn't have the better record, any team that had beat the 49ers were going to be ahead of the Cowboys. And because your Rams, who always seem to have the 49ers number, but especially due to the fact it was raining, but the Rams always seem to have the 49ers number. Any team that beat the 49ers, the Cowboys fall beneath them if they tie with them. And I knew then, I said, it's over. It is over. And now, of course, we're number 13, and I'm laughing because I think that was old crazy Ed Water. He's always said something crazy. Ed Water talk about y'all still in it. Stop it, Ed. Cowboys number 13. I mean, the collapse that your Rams would have to have, the collapse the Commanders would have to have. I mean, all of these teams in front of them, first, they got to outwin these teams. They would have to outwin all these teams. But the Rams and the Commanders would be the main problems for them, and I don't think they can overcome these because right now, the Rams, I mean, they're 8-6. Sean McVay got these boys playing. Sean McVay got them boys playing. And I think we might be seeing them. I think we might see them. Because I will be covering the playoffs, once our team, it's all said and done. But when you look at the fact, the Rams, what do y'all have? Y'all have only 3 games left. I have a hard time believing, Deuce. I have a hard time believing y'all not going to beat the Jets. I have a hard time believing y'all not going to beat the Cardinals at home. I think the Rams are going to be a tough out for you. But at the end of the day, that wild card spot now is pretty much going to come down to, and this is one of the reasons why I said the Cowboys were not going to make it, and then the loss solidified it because there's no way they can get to 10 wins pretty much. That wild card spot is going to be the race to whichever team can get 11 wins. Whichever team gets 11 wins, they solidify. But if both teams get 10, then it's going to come down to all the tiebreakers. But I kind of knew that the Rams and the Commanders kind of had their own destiny in their hands. So, yeah, McVay got them boys playing, man. Okay, you out in the VA, Virginia. Yeah, McVay is a great coach, man. He really is. Still got to see what happens Sunday, Cards and Hawks. Well, y'all will beat, I believe y'all will definitely beat, y'all will beat the Jets. You can book that. They're in this disarray. I do know y'all will beat the Cardinals at home. I don't think they're going to have a chance at home. But the Seahawks will be a different story. But you think about this. If you also look at this playoff picture, let's see what the Seahawks are. The Seahawks are in the West. Ooh, wait a minute. Man, this is shaping up to be real good because it's going to be between y'all and the Seahawks and the Commanders to see who get that number 7 seed. Because the Seahawks are 8-5. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and call it right now, Deuce Falco. I'm going to go ahead and call it right now. the Rams will move into the number 3 spot in the NFC playoffs. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to beat the Seahawks. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to beat the Seahawks. Yep. And if y'all don't move to that number 3 spot after that loss, I'm not very sure where that is. I'd have to look at the NFC. I'd have to look at the playoff maker. Y'all got a chance at that number 3 spot. Wow, that's crazy. That is crazy work. Yeah, y'all gonna beat the Cards, no doubt about it. Y'all will beat the Cards. But the Seahawks is gonna be a tough out. Both of y'all are gonna be playing for a playoff spot. But y'all do got him at home. So y'all will probably beat him at home. Y'all probably gonna be the number 3 seed. Yeah, y'all gonna probably be the number 3 seed. Seahawks got a tough ending there. Let's see. And then I get back to these Dallas Cowboys. I appreciate the super chat though. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Man, the Seahawks. Woo-wee. Boy, this end for the Seahawks is going to be crazy work. Crazy work. They could literally find themselves on the outside because I'm telling you, the Commanders are getting 10 wins. The Commanders are getting 10 wins. The Seahawks might find themselves out. I don't see them. I think there's a chance the Packers are coming to Seattle. So the Seattle Seahawks could win that one. The Vikings coming there is going to be tough. They're going to beat the Bears. Woo, man, y'all finna have y'all about to have a photo finish down there. Y'all about to have a photo finish for sure. Y'all need the Packers to win on Sunday. Y'all about to have a photo finish. Y'all are. I'll probably do the shady video. I'm probably going to do the shady video, Jared, as we get closer to the end of the season. Because, it's going to be so much to cover with the Cowboys. Because, the Cowboys are still going to be top news. Going to be top news. Because I already did the one where I roasted Stephen A. Smith. But I'm going to go back and do the one on Shady McCoy for sure. Because he has got to be one of the biggest Dallas Cowboy haters of all time, man. That dude, Shady McCoy, has no objectivity. Cowboys can win against the Panthers, but they have to give it their all. Panthers going to be a tough out for the Cowboys. And I think it's going to be a tough out, not just because the Panthers are playing better. It's going to be a tough out for the Cowboys because I want to see where our mentality is. And that's why, for me, these are great evaluation games because we're really going to get to see where the mentality of our team is. We are. We got to see what the mentality is. Hey, Janie, what's going on? Hey, I got it in the morning, too. I'll be preaching in the morning. But we stayed on task today. We made sure we didn't get into all the discussions with the hater that was on here trying to troll us. So we got a lot of good information in. I appreciate your support. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm probably going to do the post-game show not after the game immediately. I'll do the post-game show after the second round of games. I'll do my post-game show after the second round of games tomorrow. Then we'll watch the game. And I'll probably come in around halftime of the second round of games tomorrow, and then I'll let us watch the Sunday night game, which it looked like it's going to be the Seattle Seahawks and the Packers, and then we'll do our late. We're going to come back and do a late show, so we're going to have 2 shows tomorrow. So hey, I'll see you tomorrow. Appreciate you. Yeah, the Stephen A. video. Yeah, the Stephen A. video was crazy, boy. Yeah. I went at Stephen A. I'm gonna do something similar to. I don't know if you caught it, but I also did one on Cam Newton about the Cowboys being America's team. Yeah, I also did one on Cam Newton about being America's team. That's exactly what I mean. If they want to win, you will see on Sunday. Yeah, we're gonna see the Cowboys mentality because I think what CeeDee Lamb is saying is so perfect. I mean, it's one game at a time in this league. It is literally one game at a time. You can't get ahead. The only way to me you get ahead, and I don't think you get ahead, but if there's a team on my schedule that has done something like Jerry Jeudy, you better believe Jerry Jeudy circled that game against the Denver Broncos. I think players can circle certain teams if they're from that team and they want to come back and they want to do something to that team. But I think overall, you have to make sure you keep this thing one game at a time because you start looking ahead. And I'm going to tell y'all, I think this is one of the problems that happened with the Dallas Cowboys last year. I believe the Dallas Cowboys actually looked past the Green Bay Packers. I think the Cowboys looked past the Green Bay Packers. I think they looked past the Green Bay Packers and the Green Bay Packers snuck up on them. I do. I think the Green Bay Packers, I think that was one of the reasons, even though I'm not going to go back on what I said, I think the Green Bay Packers, we might not want to admit it, but I think the Green Bay Packers, in hindsight, was a bad matchup for us. The Green Bay Packers were a very bad matchup for us because we had already shown we couldn't stop the run. We had already showed we couldn't stop the run. And because we couldn't stop the run, they were a bad matchup for us. But at the same time, I also think the Cowboys thought they were going to just walk up in. I just think they thought they were going to come to Texas Stadium and win the game. Here's a video I also posted earlier, Jared. I don't know if you saw this one. When I said, yes, Cam Newton, the Dallas Cowboys are still America's team. And I'm actually going to do another video about the Cowboys being America's team after the season. It'll be apropos, no matter how we end, to let people know we're still America's team. Clay said the second-year quarterback in Carolina has figured out something out. Oh, yeah, he's figured out, something this season. I think the benching really let him examine the game. I really do. Yeah, we're going to have a tough game tomorrow. I'm telling you, it's going to be a very tough game. I'm going to the Cowboys. Oh, whoa, 70s fan, where you live? I don't want you giving out your address. But you live close, or you making or you going to make a far commute? Yeah, man, I'm telling you, that Carolina Panther game going to be crazy. It is. And I'm excited for it. It's going to be a great game. I hope the Lions beat the Bills. I will, man, I'm telling you. Lions versus the Bills, Eagles versus the Steelers. We could literally watch the 1, the 2, and the 3 swap. All of that could swap tomorrow. All of it could swap tomorrow. Because, let me see here. The Eagles and the Lions, if the Eagles win and the Lions lose, they're going to flip spots. They're going to be the one. It'll be 12-2. They'll both be 12-2, and that's going to put the Vikings in position. That's going to put the Vikings in position to get the number 2 from the Lions. Because I'm telling you, I know we got a lot of Eagle fan haters because we love the Dallas Cowboys, but I'm gonna be honest with y'all, 100% honest. The Eagles have a great shot at being the number 1 seed. I mean, they have an absolute great shot. I just think their schedule is easier than the Detroit Lions going down the stretch. They have an absolute shot. Yeah, I'm with you, DC. I'm with you, Troy Dudley. And I wish that Jerry, rather than blowing up the team, I wish Jerry would have looked at that team, brought back some of those veterans. Like, could y'all imagine what we would look like right now with Stephon Gilmore? Gilly wanted to play for this team again. The team they had last year, that's the team I wish they would have brought back this year. Because that team from last year would have helped these young guys even more. That man said he wins more than Dak Prescott in a totally subjective field. Yeah. Oh, wait, Bryce Young? Yeah. A lot of great games. Yeah, it's going to be some great games down the finish. And even the Cowboys are still going to be great. I saw where Bryce Young gave Andy Dalton a lot of credit for his improvements. Yeah, you know what? I'm just telling y'all, there's nothing against Bryce Young, but I'm a very biased. I'm sorry. I'm a very biased man when it comes to football players. I would never have a quarterback this below. I mean, 6'1" is pushing it for me. I couldn't have a quarterback as small as Bryce Young. Bryce Young got a lot of skill. He's a little too small for a quarterback for me. But he seems to be a great young man. He's got some skill. Because anytime I see guys that are small playing in this league, playing in that SEC, I mean, hey man, you gotta be you gotta be able to play to be small and playing on that level. And for him to be on this level and playing, man, proud of the guy, proud of him and things like that. I want to see him succeed. Just not against the Cowboys. I want to see him succeed. Russell Wilson. Okay, key me in on what you're talking about there, Jared. But it is definitely going to be some great games down the stretch. Man, I so wish the Cowboys win some of this stuff. I would have loved to see the Cowboys in the thick of this stuff right now, because these teams right now are pretty good, and I think the Cowboys team was really good last year. And I think those teams went back and built their teams to beat the Cowboys, because the Cowboys, you notice what they all did. They all went and got run games. They all went and got running games. All of them. If Jerry stood by his all-in statement, Cowboys would be battling the Eagles for the NFC East. I don't even think it'd be a battle. I think the Cowboys would be right now. I think the Cowboys would be the number one seed. I mean, well, the number one team in the NFC. I think they would be battling the Detroit Lions for the number one seed in the NFC. I think the Cowboys, the last year's team, with just a couple of tweaks, would still be better than the Eagles team, even with Saquon Barkley. Because especially if we do about back Dan Quinn, but even Mike Fisher showed he could stop Saquon Barkley this year. He couldn't stop Saquon Barkley. He couldn't stop Saquon and Jalen Hurts. But I think this team with some tweaking could have actually done that. They say he 5'10". He looked more like 5'9" than 5'9" to 5'8" to me. I would never have a quarterback that small. Russell Wilson is even too small. Never. I don't care. The only short quarterback I could ever see playing for me if I was an owner was Michael Vick. Michael Vick was absolutely crazy. I would Michael Vick could have played for me. Yeah, Michael Vick could have played for me. Yeah, I'm taking the Eagles, man. I'm telling you. I'm taking the Eagles because of their schedule down the stretch. Their schedule down the stretch, man. Yeah, Russ couldn't play for me. The Eagles' schedule down the stretch, they are going to get the number one seed. Their schedule is just too easy. The Lions, man, dank. Their defense is depleted. I mean, they literally went into the local Home Depot and said, is there anybody that can play? I mean, they got guys off the couch playing for them right now on defense. And their defense coordinator, give this man credit. This man has been doing just like Mike Fisher. Let me put some respect on this man's name. Let me put some respect on this man's name, because a lot of people have been talking about head coaches in this league. And I am telling y'all, this man's name, if you're looking for a defensive-minded coach, this man should be coming up on people's list. His name is Aaron Glenn. You want to talk about doing more with less? Go look at how many defensive players that the Lions are losing, have lost. Look at how many players they've lost. This man is balling. He got that defense balling next man up. They're doing next man up, and they are balling. I gotta put some respect on that man's name, Aaron Glenn. He balling. I think that if the NFC wins the Super Bowl, it will be the Lions that win it. You know what? I'll say this. Freddie, it's the best storyline. And I'm always looking at the storylines in the NFL. And I'll tell you the best storyline in the NFL right now. The best storyline in the NFL right now is not. Now, I know Kansas City Chiefs fans, Patrick Mahomes fans, you're going to have to close your ears for what I'm about to say. A three-peat by the Chiefs does not help the NFL this year. The NFL ratings are down for various reasons. I think one of those reasons is the Dallas Cowboys are not competitive and Dak Prescott is injured. If Thanksgiving didn't show you anything, because there were other games on Thanksgiving, they did not fare like the Dallas Cowboys against the Giants. The Dallas Cowboys helped the ratings of the NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs, with a three-peat, is not in the best interest of this league if they want the ratings to go up, because a lot of people are saying stuff, love it or hate it. Some of these wins by the Chiefs have been very strange. And a lot of people are saying the fix is in, that they want the Chiefs to go back to the Super Bowl. But for the best interest of this league, and I even think just based on what I see, the best scenario for this league is the Bills versus the Lions. Two teams. The Lions have never been to the Super Bowl. Josh Allen needs a Super Bowl because people keep saying he is the man, the face of the league, all this. No, he needs a Super Bowl. And I think a lot of people want to see Josh Allen win. I don't know why, but they want to see Josh Allen win. They do. I think the Bills versus the Lions or the Bills versus the Eagles would be one of the best case scenarios for this league. Or the Steelers versus the Eagles. Steelers versus the Eagles would be awesome for this league because the Steelers, whether people realize it or not, the Steelers are one of the most popular teams in the NFL. They're one of the most popular teams in the NFL. But if we get the Chiefs, I mean, that's going to just be boring for most people. But I think the Lions, the Lions either way, people are going to love that storyline because that year when the Eagles got that Super Bowl against the Patriots, it was a great storyline and everybody wanted to see it. They love when teams get their first Super Bowl. They love it. They love it. But I'm telling you, man, the Lions got a monster, boy. They got a monster schedule down the stretch and they got an injured defense. They do. Jared, they say that Vic was 6'1", 6 foot even. Man, I'm telling you, bro, I think Mike Vick is 5'11", man. I think Mike Vick 5'11" because I didn't realize how short he was until I saw him start standing beside players. Now, Drew Brees was too short for me too, Darrell Carter. I mean, I know some people might not like that. Hey, ain't no way Doug Flutie for me, man. Doug Flutie, nah, man, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do Doug Flutie. That's just too short. The 70s fans say, I don't know if the Packers were better, but they were playing better. Yeah, they were playing better. They were playing better down the stretch. The Cowboys were beating up bad teams down the stretch. Yes, and the Cowboys got beat by a couple of good teams down the stretch, the Dolphins and the Bills, and it was a bad matchup. The Packers were better. And the reason why I say they were better, not because of their quarterback, not because of defensive end, and no, the team. Matt LaFleur. Has Mike McCarthy beat Matt LaFleur yet? I don't think he's beaten him yet. What's going on, Roberta? I don't think he's beaten him yet. I don't think he's beat Matt LaFleur yet. See, when I'm talking about a better team, a lot of folk think I'm just talking about players. Man, I'm talking about all the way down. GM to the water boy. Packers were better than us, especially at that point in time. They were better than us. It was a terrible matchup for the Cowboys. Terrible matchup. Yeah, I think the Eagles are going to do it. Aaron Glenn is from that Bill Belichick Patriots culture. Man, I'm going to tell you something. You know what, Clay? I'm going to say something that people might think crazy. But if we were looking for a defensive-minded coach, I don't understand why Aaron Glenn is not on people's radar. I don't understand it. Because when you look at what this dude is doing with that depleted defense, it's crazy. It is. Dude said, I want to see who makes the playoffs before I give a prediction. Yeah. Well, hey, dudes, I think it's pretty much solidified. The only parts at this point, I think it's sold up. The only parts that are going to move is the Rams and the Seahawks. Those are the only two pieces that moves. I think the Commanders, looking at their schedule, they have 10 games wrapped up. They got that spot. They have that number 6 spot. I think that number 7 spot. I think the Packers will keep the 6. Now, I could see where the Packers and the Commanders could maybe switch, but I think they're both in. Seahawks got a bad schedule going down the stretch. They got a bad schedule going down the stretch. Bad schedule. Bad schedule. The Seahawks could literally find themselves out and the Rams in. But I think everything else is I think all the teams are going to stay the same with the exception of the Rams and the Seahawks. And I got a feeling the Rams, if they don't collapse, they're going to get in. That Seahawks schedule down the stretch is brutal. Chiefs 3-peat doesn't help because people are sick of the Chiefs. Yep. And they're also sick of the way they're winning these games. The way they're winning these games. And that's the part that's scary. The NFL is determined to make the Chiefs the new Patriots. Yep. I can see that too. And a lot of people are thinking the same things. Oh, yeah, Jared. Yeah, they can ball. They just couldn't ball for me. I mean, I'm just saying if it was my team. That don't mean that short quarterbacks aren't good because they are good. I mean, Kyler Murray is kind of coming into his own. He could never play for me. Bryce Young coming into his own. He's looking pretty good. Couldn't play for me. Russell couldn't play for me. I mean, but they're playing good. They are. Dedrick Wade, what chance do Dallas have to make it work, Dedrick? Dank said, this whole Diggs situation seems similar to Cook's. Yep. And I don't know, man. And then if the conspiracy theorist in me comes out, I'm like, what is the NFL doing? Are they setting us up for the Cowboys to win next year with all these injuries? It's crazy. From what I understand, the Steelers were asked about being called America's team. I'm going to do a whole story on that in the offseason, Roberta. That's going to be a part of some of my offseason work. It's possible Rams and Seahawks make it. We got to see what happens Sunday. Yeah? Hey, man, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I just wish our Cowboys was in that thing, man, trying to mix it up in here. Because to me, it would just make everything so much better. What about the Ravens as a sleeper Super Bowl pick with Lamar Jackson? Man, Gabe. Hey, man. Have we watched the slowdown of Derrick Henry? The Derrick Henry slowdown, I mean, Saquon Barkley has not fallen off. But Derrick Henry, let me look at his last few games. Maybe I'm incorrect. But he hadn't quite looked the same to me. Yeah, okay, I have looked at this. Okay, so the Ravens was on a bye week this week, right? So I want you to look at the first half of Derrick Henry's schedule. So if you look at the first half of this thing in the wins, he was 46, 84. But look at this. Look at this run. 151, 199, 92, 132, 169, 73, 106. But then when you get to the last few games, this is what needs to be looked at. 68. I saw how Cincinnati stopped him. 65. I saw how Pittsburgh stopped him. 140. The Chargers stopped them in spots. 82 against Philly. My question is about Derrick Henry. Is he wearing down? And I'm not sold on them just yet. Oh, yeah. Henry wanted to sign for Dallas. And they just didn't get him. The way Henry is looking down the stretch, I'm kind of like, wait a minute now. What's going on with him? I actually think he needs some rest. That's what my opinion is. I think the man needs some rest. The tackle from Cooper Deshaun was brutal against Derrick Henry. Dude got body slammed. Man, I've been watching him down the stretch, and I'm just kind of like, Henry ain't been quite looking the same down the stretch. And Saquon Barkley, and I think Saquon Barkley is on a mission that he's trying to show people that these older running backs can still ball. Because let's see. Let me show you why this dude should be in the MVP race. Shoot, you better ask somebody about Saquon Barkley. I don't care what nobody's saying. Saquon Barkley is going off the chain. Carries on the left, carries the first column, yards the second column, yards per rush, third column, touchdowns, fourth column, longest run, fifth column. This man turned this league up. First game, 109, 24 carries, 34-yard run. 95 second game, they lost. 147, 65, longest run, 2 touchdowns, 8.6 yards a carry, only 17 carries. He went 84 in the fourth game, 10 carries, 18, 47. But look at him after that. Look at these yards. 176, 108, 159, had a blip. That was against the Cowboys. They stopped him, but they couldn't stop Jalen Hurts. 66 yards against the Cowboys. Look what he did after that. 146, 255, 107, 124. Barkley is tearing this league up. This man is at 16-23. Barkley, right now, Barkley can hit 2,000 yards if they let him. Barkley can literally hit 2,000 yards if they let him. He ain't doing what Derrick Henry doing. Derrick Henry started his, I don't know if we call it a decline, but I'm just telling you, he hasn't been running the same like he's been running the first part of the season. Shoot, man, Saquon Barkley been consistent. That dude been running that rock, man. Let me cover a couple other stories on the Cowboys before we get out of here. Yeah, Barkley been running that rock, though. He's definitely been running it. Okay, something interesting has come down the pike. The NFL makes a final decision on punishment from a controversial hit against Joe Burrow. Interesting. Wasn't aware of this. Were y'all aware of this issue going on? Let's see. Cincinnati Bengals head coach Zach Taylor was incensed last week at what he thought was a missed face mask. Oh, yeah, I remember that call on quarterback Joe Burrow, and even the NFL admitted later that it should have drawn a penalty flag. Duh, who didn't see it? But it was not enough to warrant punishment for the Dallas Cowboy player who grabbed hold of Burrow's face mask, the league concluded the week. As NFL Tom Pelissero reported, the league decided not to fine Cowboys rookie Maurice Leafau for the play in last Monday's game. Okay. All right, so that's the one they're talking about. I'm not surprised. You didn't call it in the game, so I'm not surprised. When you talk about a hit, I'm thinking you're talking about a brutal hit. And I said this last week. I said this past week. Everybody was talking about the punt, but nobody was talking about the fact that this is the exact point I made up. The missed penalty could have made a huge impact on the game. It came with less than 7 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, and the score tied at 20-20. If they call that face mask, the punt thing probably doesn't happen because I think they get the touchdown on that drive. Burrow lost the ball on the play, and it was initially ruled a fumble, recovered by the Cowboys, but it was overturned and ruled an incomplete pass. The Bengals punted 2 plays later, but pulled through with a 27-20 win. I think they would have won on that play. Or not that play, but I think they would have scored on that drive. I do. Very interesting. Very interesting. And so, a few more stories on here. Talking about the Cowboys tanking. Another story. Should the Dallas Cowboys re-sign Rico Dowdle in free agency? We were talking about this earlier. Dallas Cowboys running back Rico Dowdle found a former late, leaving head coach Mike McCarthy to reminisce about his first impression of the undrafted free agent. So, you think about what that just said. It was Mike McCarthy who didn't think Rico Dowdle was the real deal. Y'all remember? Mike McCarthy wanted Aaron Jones. Jerry got Zeke. Not realizing he already had the answer on his team. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like Mike McCarthy as the coach for this team, because Mike McCarthy has not used what he has had. And it's like he's been pouting about what he doesn't have, and you can tell by what he's been doing in the play calling. So this is one of the reasons why, me personally, I don't want Mike McCarthy back. Even though Dak does. I don't want Mike McCarthy back. But it says, the rise of Dallas Cowboys running back Rico Dowdle is something to be admired for a host of reasons. One, that he has had to fight through injury troubles for the first few seasons of his career. He's done a good job. Then when he was healthy, Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard were ahead of him in the pecking order, leaving Dowdle to pick up scraps when he could. Shouldn't have happened. This offseason opportunity knocked on Rico's door, and after a running back by committee approach that saw Dowdle split carries with Elliott, shouldn't have happened. The decision was made a few weeks ago to give Rico the keys to the running back room. And what has followed is good for the soul. Rushing totals of 86, 112, and 131 has seen Dowdle show that maybe he is worth a roster spot in 2025. A roster spot? He's already at number 21, and they were not running him early in the season. He's one less game than some of those guys. A roster spot? No, the Cowboys ought to be looking at signing him seriously. It says, for head coach Mike McCarthy, who was at the start of Rico's rookie season, his journey from undrafted free agent to where he is now is a great achievement. Rico has such an aggressive run style, and that was the first impression of him. McCarthy said the first time he touched the ball, he scored a touchdown on the kickoff. I love the way he attacks the defense when he's running the ball. He's very bright, has a very high understanding of the game, understands run blocking, the protection part of it, and played quarterback in high school, so he has a high IQ. He's just a really good football player that had to go through some injury challenges in his first couple of years. It's been great to see him have success. No, he's better than that. No, y'all need to be thinking about signing him. Let me see what they say down here. Currently with 731 rushing yards. If Rico gets to that famous 1,000-yard mark, it will be an exclamation mark on his coming out party as a starting running back in the NFL. He has overcome a lot in his young career already, but finally, after 4 years, Rico light is starting to shine. He's only 26, hitting his prime. The next question comes in free agency in March. Is his first impression and his present impression impressive enough for Dallas to prioritize him as a keeper as a keeper in 2025 free agency? If the Cowboys, this is a no-brainer. Willie T said he's not coming back. I think he's going to test the market. I do. He's an unrestricted free agent. I think he would have stayed healthy all season. Now, I don't know about you. I tell you, me, Willie, I would have tested the waters. I think they should have saw if he could do it, but he gonna get paid. Alex, appreciate the super chat. What's going on, Alex? He said, what's going on, G? This season wasn't a success for the Cowboys. From what I've seen of our young guys, I'm excited for the future. That's where I am, Alex. And that's why I got my evaluation hat on. All I'm looking at is how we look down the stretch. That's all I'm looking at. What do these players look like? What do the players look like we have? That's all I'm looking at. And so, even from what we've seen from Rico, I like it. But Willie said nobody saw Rico making it through the whole season healthy. That was one of the things that Jerry Jones was saying. But Rico was kind of proving everybody wrong. And if it's me, Willie, what better test? You want to see if he can stay healthy? Run him 25 times in the next 4 games. Y'all remember what they did to DeMarco Murray? DeMarco Murray, last few games with the Cowboys, they ran him in the ground. They ran him in the ground. And if I'm the Cowboys, what do you have to lose now? You run Rico into the ground. And if he hold up, you bring him back as your second running back. And then you go get you another one. You go get your number one. You go get Genty, or you go get the guy from North Carolina. Gabe said Ashton Genty finished close second, followed by Oregon quarterback Dylan Gabriel and Cam Ward. Is this? See, wait. Let me see what you're talking about here. Okay, I thought you was talking about the Heisman Trophy winner. Looks like Travis Hunter got the Heisman Trophy, right? Is that what you're talking about, Gabe? Yeah, looks like Travis Hunter got the Heisman Trophy. 2024 Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter claims award on the back of Colorado star sensational two-way season. He should have got it. No doubt about it. Okay, yeah, this is what you're talking about, right? He outdueled Boise State running back Ashton Genty. Travis Hunter was incredible. There's no other way to get around it. He was incredible. Cam Ward, wow. 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 Dylan Gabriel. Now, you know what a lot of people have been talking about? A lot of people have been talking about the fact that Shedeur Sanders was not up here. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I've heard a few things about the Dylan Gabriel kid. Cameron Ward, of course. We know he's the second best quarterback in the draft this year. Wow. Wow. Yeah, Travis Hunter deserved it. He did. But this draft is loaded. It's loaded with running backs. Travis Hunter. I predict the Las Vegas Raiders get Shedeur Sanders. New York Giants, Cam Ward. New England probably gets Travis Hunter. It's going to be between New England, Carolina, Jacksonville. We'll see what they all finish at. But the last 3 through 8, it will be the race to see who gets number 3. Because I think Vegas is going to make sure they don't win another game, and I don't think the Giants are going to win another game. So I think both of those will get their quarterbacks. They'll get Shedeur, they'll get Cam, and I think Travis is going to either go to New England, Carolina, or Jacksonville. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. So the real question will be, because I'm like you, Willie T., I don't think it's going to be a matter if the Cowboys are going to sign. I don't think it's going to be a matter if the Cowboys are going to sign Rico Dowdle. I don't think Rico Dowdle is going to sign with the Cowboys. They're too cheap. They're too cheap. They're going to want this man to come back for Cracker Jacks with a prize in the box. He's determined. Yeah, exactly. I think he'll actually probably get a 3-year deal. He'll probably get somewhere around $12 million with about $8 million guaranteed. That's kind of where I see him at. Cowboys ain't paying nowhere near that. So Rico will not be back with the Cowboys. Yep, Willie, I said the same thing. We should have used Rico from the beginning. We should have. Darrell said in 2014, we played the Bears. And Murray, man, we ran DeMarco Murray in the ground, didn't we? Man, they knew they wasn't signing DeMarco Murray again. Boy, they ran DeMarco Murray in the ground. I think these last 4 games. Hey, Rico, we're not going to bring you back. We're going to run you 25 to 30 times a game. We're going to let you not only get that 1,000 yards, we're going to give you the opportunity to get 12 to 1,500 yards. And a team out there is probably going to sign you. I think they are. There's been people wanting Ashton Jeanty to the Cowboys, but I don't think that he falls to us. When you look at that draft, and here's the thing. If the Cowboys don't win another game, they will move to a minimum of 10. Problem is, does Chicago, these teams up here at the top, man, this thing is so top heavy. Vegas will not win another game. Giants will not win another game. New England, without looking at their schedules, and I'll do this next week. I'll look and see what these teams' records are. Problem is, though, the Cowboys could actually benefit from Carolina beating us. Carolina mess around and beat the Cowboys and go to 4 wins. Well, the Cowboys would scoot up, I'm sure, to the top 10. The Cowboys would get in that top 10. And so the Cowboys, problem is, I just don't think Jeanty makes it past number 6. I'm kind of with you on that. I don't think Jeanty makes it past number 6 because if Shador and Cam Ward are going to be 1 and 2, Travis Hunter has to be number 3 no later than 4. Jeanty is going to have to be 4 or 5. Most teams aren't going to pass up Jeanty. Now, me, I would trade Jeanty. If somebody wanted him, I would trade that draft pick and get me some extra draft picks. But Jeanty's probably not going to make it past number 6, which may be the best thing that could happen for the Dallas Cowboys because, honestly, I think the Dallas Cowboys could get a good to great running game because there are other great running backs in this draft. And so I think they could actually trade back, get the wide receiver they want, get a running back high in the second, or get Abdul Carter. There are so many different scenarios. But if I'm the Cowboys, I would probably figure out a way to trade back and get another draft pick in that draft. So it's gonna be a great draft. The Jones' track record says he won't be back. No, Rico not coming back. He done. I was hoping we were going to use Rico up until December, then Zeke and Dalvin in the playoffs. That was my idea beginning of the season. Yeah, they should have. I think they should have ran him at the beginning, and we might would have been in a better situation. Who is the better head coach? McCarthy, Queens. Come on now. I know you playing, because ain't no way. There is no universe I'm picking Mike McCarthy over Mike Tomlin. I'm an old school type of person. I like for coaches to coach. Tomlin coaches the whole team. He's got OC and DC. I would rather be a coach. I would rather have a coach so he can go to talk to any player when he wants to. I would rather have a coach. And the problem I have with the Cowboys is we always want a coach/coordinator. I'd rather just have a coach. Rico Dowdle's a Mike Tomlin guy. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Pittsburgh. I'm imagining Fields, Najee, and Dowdle in the backfield. I don't see how anyone could stop that. It'd be pretty tough to stop, especially with that Pittsburgh mentality. I don't care where Shador winds up as long as it ain't with the boys. Don't worry, it's not. He's not going to wind up. Ain't no way we getting him. But don't rule this out. I believe Shiloh Sanders, if he's still there in the 5th round, I think there's a higher chance and a high chance Shiloh Sanders playing for the Dallas Cowboys. I do. I think there is a chance that he's going to play for the Dallas Cowboys. Let me see. I think they have him projected. Thought they had him projected like a 4th round, maybe a. I would not be surprised if the Cowboys wind up with Shiloh because they need a safety. Yeah, they need a safety. So I wouldn't be surprised because Shiloh is not even ranked. When you look at the top 10 safeties, Shiloh is not even ranked in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken here. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the top 10 safeties, I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys got him. He might actually be available in the 5th round. I'm not going to be surprised if the Cowboys get him. I'm just not. And Jerry Jones would give Shiloh Sanders every opportunity to start. I mean, he could literally come onto this team and be a starter because Jerry likes Deion that much. And he's a really good tackler. I think he needs to gain some weight. You know, if he's going to be a safety in the NFL, 195, I mean, I think he needs to bring a little bit more weight in the NFL. Probably needs to gain about 10, 15 pounds of muscle to play safety in the NFL. That's one of the reasons why I think Demarion Overshown should be moved to safety for the Cowboys because he's got the right weight, in my opinion, to be a safety in this league. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to be playing for the Cowboys. But don't worry, Shedeur will not be playing. Not be playing. If I'm not mistaken, that came from the DeMarco Murray compensatory pick. Okay, all right. It is very rare to draft a running back in the 1st round. Yeah, Genty is going to be one of those, though. Genty will go in the 1st round. Yeah, I'm with you, Willie T. Genty going in the 1st round. And I bet you if Genty makes it past 10, there'll be teams trying their best to trade up to get him. Yeah, Genty ain't getting past 10. I'll be shocked. Mario Hampton from North Carolina. This is the guy who I think the Cowboys should probably get in the 2nd round. The guys can flat out run the ball down people's throats. Yeah, that's the guy who I think that they should probably be thinking about. Abdul Carter will go before Genty. Yeah, he's a freak, man. Somebody turned me on to him on here. I think it was the 70s fan that turned me on to him. And Abdul Carter is going to command. Abdul Carter is literally going to go very high in the draft. Kevin Blanks, Luther Burden, and Starks Kid will be available in the 1st round for the Cowboys. This is going to be a great draft for anybody in those higher rounds. Yeah, he's going to the Raiders. Deion's already asked him to go he's already asked him to go. And I'm telling y'all, I'm not saying this like it's something that you should think that I'm a prophet about. But I believe that the NFL team that Deion Sanders will go to if he goes, it will be the Raiders. I could literally see Deion playing out another season at Colorado, maybe 2. The Las Vegas Raiders will not be contenders next year. They might contend, and I don't think they'll be contenders the year after, but they'll be continuing to get players around Shedeur. And then come 2027, it'll be perfect. Because by that time, they will have accumulated players, draft stock, to where then Deion can step right in, right from the college game, and then they'll be a super team. I will not be surprised if Deion winds up with the Raiders. I will not be surprised. I think Cowboys are a sleeper to get Ashton Genty at 12. All those bad teams in top 10 don't need running backs, and they'll be scared to take one early, but we shall see. Oh, man, Gabe. Man, I can tell you this. Just because of the attention, not just the talent, because Jerry don't just think talent when he's thinking players. I think just because of the talent and the attention, if Genty does get to Dallas, he does not get past Dallas. They'll get him. They will get him. Daniel said, I bet the Cowboys draft Dylan Gabriel in the fifth round if Rush and Lance walk in 2025. I think they're going to send Rush walking for sure. Luther Burden III from Missouri is 5'10", but I can't see the Cowboys drafting him in round 1 because I don't think he's that good. No, they're not. I don't think they're going to draft him either for sure. Not going to happen. We should take Luther Burden if Genty and Abdul Carter are gone. I'll have to do some research on the Luther Burden, but he's the Missouri. Isn't he the Missouri? Luther Burden III. Okay, that's what I thought. Oh, yeah, he's the wide receiver from Missouri. Yeah, I can't do it. And the reason why I can't do it is because if you look at Jonathan Mingo, the productivity is pretty much the same from their last year. I'm not getting a guy in the first round who's 61 receptions, 676 yards, and 6 touchdowns. There is no way I'm even thinking about this guy. I think someone said, did someone say the 5th? Someone may have said the 5th. I think Daniel said he's 5'10". Yeah, I'm definitely not looking at him in the first, second, or the third. Yeah, he's too small. Yeah, he's too small for me. Jerry is going to go after what he called Dak Prescott-friendly receivers. Jonathan Mingo is Dak-friendly. And I think what he's talking about, tall, large catch radius, receivers that can win against cornerbacks. I think that's what he's talking about. I don't think they're going to go the small receiver route again. And if I'm Dak Prescott, I'm actually complaining about, I'm just going to tell him behind closed doors, no more small wide receivers. No more small wide receivers, man. We got to get bigger wide receivers, especially when you look at the cornerbacks that the Philadelphia Eagles have went and gotten if you want to remain top in this league. And so, like I said, man, the Cowboys, I'll talk more about the draft as we get towards the end of the season. But I really want to see where the Cowboys, this is a gut check game to me. This is a gut check game for the Cowboys. How are you going to play this game? I mean, you continue to get injuries. How are you going to play this game? Are you still going to do what CeeDee Lamb said? Are you coming out to win this game? And can you change the mentality on this team? One game at a time. No one taken lightly. You come out and you play this game hard. Let's see what you're made of. Let's see what you're made of. This is a great opportunity for this team. A great opportunity for this team. Great opportunity for the young people on this team. A great opportunity for this team to really, really see if it can shine even during a very dark season. Because I do believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, there can be no shadow unless there is light. So I believe that the Dallas Cowboys still have a great opportunity to continue to build this team. All right, guys, great conversation tonight. I'm excited to see what the Cowboys do tomorrow. See if they can pull off a win. Because if they pull off a win tomorrow, I think it says a lot about the mentality of this team. And hey, Freddie keeps saying anything can happen. So we're going to see. Man, Will Grier is better than Cooper Rush. And I think they kept Cooper Rush because they like him, but a lot of people said that Will Grier outplayed Cooper Rush that season. I think the Cowboys are going to let Rush and Lance walk. Yeah, I think they're going to let Cooper walk, but if they can keep Lance cheap, I think they will. Jerry likes Lance. 2027 will be the season. Y'all get ready. It'll be time to start looking at Dak's replacement. That's when they're going to probably do the draft. I mean, they'll draft Dak's replacement in 2027. I won't be surprised in 2027 they go in the first round and get a quarterback. If not the first, it'll be the second. Won't be surprised. Gabe said all eyes on Michael Parsons. Yes. I want to see how he responds after all that crying. All eyes on Michael Parsons tomorrow to see how he responds after Monday night's crying session. I want to see it. I want to see it. Can he rally this team? Can he get more than quarterback pressures? I'm tired of hearing quarterback pressures in the same conversation with Michael Parsons. Shamar Turner from A&M is a beast at the edge. Willie T said we losing tomorrow. Man, I'm telling you, I think the Carolina Panthers are going to give us everything we can handle. Mike McCarthy will not run versus the Panthers. Rush will throw a lot again. If he does, he's going to get picked off. He's going to turn it over, whether it be fumble or interceptions, and they're going to lose another heartbreaking game if they put this game in the hands of Cooper Rush again. They better put this game on the feet of one Rico Dowdle. Yep. So that's going to do it for me, guys. That'll be my time. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Twice if you tune in. If you haven't, hit that notification bell so you'll know the next time I go live. Share, subscribe, like. If you like the content, let's talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Peace.